Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is episode 210, and it is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at the eastern coast of the United States. Finally, I think daylight time savings time is over. We still had daylight savings time in the previous episode, right? So I think that's over now. 26th of November, so everybody should be done with their Thanksgiving Black Friday stuff. Just waiting for Cyber Monday sales, right? But we are heading into the winter and obviously wrapping up the year. This is going to be our final review episode of our fall 2022 anime season lineup. Again, fortunately, we only had 4 episodes that we could review with, since we are kind of pressed for time because we both have to do the end of the year award series and the winter preview series before we jump into again the new year with the winter 2023 series. So we have a couple of episodes there. We might stack up a side cast or maybe do like fall back to another review cast or whatever. But for right now, again, this is pretty much our last scheduled review of the fall series season. So, anyways, I am your host, Spire, and as always, here are my usual compatriots, Dark,
Hi.
Toast,
Huh?
and of course, Near.
What's up?
All right, well, let's get right onto it. Let's quickly go over our past 2 weeks. Again, I know that we just had like Thanksgiving and so on, and Black Fridays, so a little bit of hectic time of the year. But what about you, Near? How are your past 2 weeks?
Near, how's the Freedom Convoy?
Huh?
How's their
I
freedom?
I haven't really following anything about that.
I heard Trudeau shut it down. Why is he shutting down your freedom?
'Cause Trudeau's a libtard tyrant, and he's intent on ruining everybody's liberties and fun. So it's just how it goes. But yeah, my 2 weeks been pretty chill, pretty calm. Haven't really been up to much. The Shadowverse mini expansion came out, and it's fucked up. It's pretty bad. They basically made a new archetype for Dragoncraft, and
Mhm.
it's completely fucking destroyed the ladder.
Again?
Oh,
Yeah,
the classic.
yep. Discard Dragon is back, and it's fucked up. But whatever. This expansion has already had like 3 or like 4 nerf patches, so it's already a fucking shit show. So hey, what's one more, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, not too much. Just keeping up with stuff. Oh yeah, I did. I started playing that the hot new gacha game, Neural
Nikke?
Cloud.
Okay.
Neural
Oh,
Cloud?
No.
Okay.
damn, Near. Why? Why not? You don't you
Uh,
don't like you don't like girls?
well, I did try Nikke, but it
The
sucks.
butts? The butt?
It's
Apparently there like the end game is like super shitty. Is like
I mean, the game is shitty. Like,
yeah.
it's not fun. Like, it's not fun to play. But yeah.
But Near, what's the gacha rate
For what? NeuroCloud
I think
or
it's 4%
for
for
Nikkei?
Nikkei.
for Nikkei? Yeah,
4% is pretty generous.
it's pretty
4% is pretty
okay. Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's like I don't care.
good. Yeah.
Who's your
I
favorite,
don't
Near?
know. For Nikkei, there was like one character I liked. It's like
Ooh.
There's like the shotgun chick, with like brown skin. I think. She was
You
cute.
mean the one that everyone likes with the ripped?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course. What's her name?
I just like the one with
I
the
don't know.
mask. The like
I'm
red, the red and
pretty
black.
sure she's voiced by Kawasumi too. But
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Other than that, I haven't really been up too much. Just kind of
Okay.
chilling.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you, Near. What about you, Dark?
I'm still on the Genshin grind. Just kind of been keeping up with stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, prepping for our boy Scaramucci,
Mhm.
coming out. Yeah, I think next week. no, week after, December 6th, I think. So that's exciting. And other than that, kind of just been keeping up with shows. Bocchi the Rock has been increasingly great since we covered it, so that's been fun and good.
Yeah,
What's the
Bochi's
de-
been
What's
pretty.
the deal with Bochi's, Doc? What's
What?
everyone's talking about Bochi's?
What are you
That
talking about?
When she pulls down her zipper, her
big
Bochi's
breast
pop
this
out.
is? I mean, that's like, as far as I know, that's just like a meme. Just because there's only been
I
one.
saw I saw the power level ranking.
Yeah, but I
I
mean,
think
it's not like
honestly.
that. Like that hasn't been in the show at least yet. Anything like
Mm.
that. Though I mean, well, actually no, it kind of has been because there was one wardrobe change like part where that like is kind of the case, but it's not like they haven't used that as like a bit.
Mhm.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so anything else?
that's fun. That's had some fun. That's had some fun art of like what is it? References to like other album covers and stuff. So that's been cool.
Mhm.
Was it Kisoku Band's album songs rather are on Spotify. So that's been cool. That's been fun to listen to.
Which
The
one?
performance, they're like all pretty much everything, like the OP, the ED, and two of the songs so far are on Spotify. I think what's pretty cool though is that for the show they clearly did do like live recordings. Well, not live, like less like touched up recordings of it for the actual performances, which is nice. In the most recent episode, because it's like even though like there was the sort of like opening song where they just like straight up, or not opening song, I forget what the name of the song is, but their like first song where at their like first performance they're like they really fuck it up. Well, not really fuck it up, but you can tell like the timing is off. Like Bochi comments on it, and like Kita is like flubbing the lyrics at certain points or like stumbling over herself. Um, but I think like those performances were cool, and then the follow-up performance that they do like well during is still a different performance from just like the recording that's on like Spotify. You know, so I
Mhm.
thought that was pretty neat that they do have like a set that's not just doing insert song, which is quite cool, especially because it's like that portion wasn't supposed to be like them being all over the place. That was supposed to be them like kind of nailing it. So I think even
Right,
having
right.
that does have some slight differences is pretty cool and not something that they had to do.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's a
I think
welcome addition.
yeah, I think Bocchi, although obviously it's not as stand out, like obviously, oh, this is a very kind of like an artistic kind of appeal as like say an Eizouken, right? Which was very widely received. It was a clear like signal even to the dumbest of people that Eizouken was something that a little bit outside the norm, right? But I think Bocchi in its own way, even if it to a lot of people, a lot of unsuspecting people, I don't want to say necessarily dumb because I think it would be it has these sorts of like animation kind of like if you're just seeing pictures or just seeing like snapshots, right? You're just like, oh, that's just like another freaking stupid Moe Blob Keon knockoff or whatever it is. But I do think that
Well, at the
Bocchi has
very
really
least, you
set
might
itself.
think it's just a standard fare like four
Yeah,
girls
yeah, yeah.
band
I
type
wouldn't
thing.
blame people.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought it was from
exactly.
the PV.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Absolutely. But I do think that it has really proven itself to be a work of love for sure. So
I don't
I'm
know,
glad for that.
man. I don't know, man. How much J Rock do you have to watch to be able to understand Bochi, the
All
Rock?
the references. I think part of it, part of the beauty of that is honestly like finding out and not just through the series and kind of like finding out, but also like on social media when like people point out the different references and like slowly finding out over time. Because obviously I'm like not in tune at all with
Who's your favorite J-Rock band, Spire?
don't have a J-Rock. I like my memory is not only bad,
Name
but
it.
I
Name
have like
one.
no recollection of like
Name at
anything.
least one. One recent one.
One recent one.
One recently formed one.
Yeah. Go.
I have no idea. I feel like if if you like told me like a really famous name, I might be like, oh, I've heard of them before. But I'm like really bad. Like I'm not gonna pretend like, oh wow, I'm in tune with like J-pop, J-rock, because I'm not. Because I am not. But
See.
Bro, just say
me-
bump chicken. Just say
Just-
that. Like
you
it's
Say
that
what?
easy. Just say bump of chicken.
Oh, Bump of Chicken.
Not
Not
Yeah.
recently
Scary-
formed, obviously, because that was a
yeah.
bullshit.
I mean,
rule,
you
but,
could have said
know.
Baby Metal or something. That's recent. I'd call Baby Metal
No,
recent.
that is not that recent.
2010 is
Yeah.
recent.
Baby metal
Okay, old man.
is not recent, bro.
I'm curious. Is Unison Square Garden? I guess like the whole like difference between J-pop and J-rock doesn't really matter, but it's
That's
J-rock,
pop.
right?
That's pop, my dude.
It's
That's
pop.
a teen
Okay, yeah,
pop
Yeah,
band,
they're
my
pop.
dude.
okay.
You could. I mean, what? You're
Yeah, I'm
not gonna say
fine.
Gact. You're not gonna say Asian Kung Fu Generation, Maximum the Hormone,
Yeah,
Tokyo
Oh
Drift.
yeah, no,
the hot,
okay, yeah,
new
that's true.
artists on the block.
The hot
Gag.
new artists, yeah, the complete newbies, the greenhorns, yeah, exactly. But anyways, thank you. And what about you, Toast? 2 weeks, please.
So is that why you like K-On better than Pochi the Rock Spire? Because
That's
you
not
like
what I
Teen
said at
Boy.
all.
No, it's
Teen Boy,
because he's
yeah.
a Nazi and loves Azusa.
Yeah.
Duez Infinity counts as rock? Damn, I didn't know that. All right, cool. Anyway,
So 2 weeks.
Iris got a new outfit. Very cool.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's still red juice, and judging from the red juice, what is it, art gallery, he definitely went out of his way to give Iris a different look. I posted a link if you want to check it out. She looks way different, and more importantly, way easier to draw because if you saw Iris's previous character sheet, it had so many layers and it was a nightmare to draw. Now she looks more simplified. And other than that, Millie got an outfit too, 1 hour directly after that. Good for her. You know who else got a new outfit? Azuki. She went from Diva 1.0 to Diva 2.0 to Idol group to Idol Hololive member Idol 3.0, and now she looks like a music artist as 4.0. So it's probably my favorite outfit so far. Good on you, Azuki. 2 weeks. What should I do in 2 weeks? Happy Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you celebrate
mean,
Thanksgiving? I don't. You don't, right?
do you have
Yeah.
holidays in Canada?
Yeah, we
Just,
do.
just wondering.
It's in October.
Why? That's Halloween, my dude.
That's around the time where we start hearing Mariah Carey singing Christmas carols
Yeah,
on our.
yeah.
It's called October Giving. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
You
called
have it.
Thanksgiving.
Wait. This is is this around the time where we asked like, did you guys actually eat turkey or did you guys use another meat?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we eat turkey.
Okay. Do you
I
do
had
like spatchcock or slash split it, or do you guys just do the whole thing? Just chuck it in?
We do the whole thing. I mean,
Okay.
personally, I'm not a fan of turkey. I don't
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't really like it very much, but
I do think again, like doing like a mayo rub or something like that, like a more fatty thing,
mayo.
helps a lot. But yeah.
yeah,
What do you
but
mean? I've never heard anyone mayo rub a turkey.
Oh, it's not like it's not like a popular recipe or anything like that. But I tried it once. It was pretty decent. But like most of that's just because mayo is naturally just like fatty and attractive to human taste. So it's like, oh, okay, well, it
Okay.
kept
What
it
are
in
you?
this.
What are you? Japanese isekai protagonist?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Gotta make that mayo, friend.
the innate human nature of liking mayo.
Mayo and rice, yeah, white rice. You gotta just
Yeah.
make it, bro. Yeah.
Oh,
What is it?
I had Cornish hen and ham.
Nice.
Turkey
I think
sucks.
my family over in another place, not where I live, they had brisket, and I had a little bit of turkey tail and like some duck.
Turkey
And that was about
tail?
it. Yes, turkey tail. It's like a very fatty part of the turkey, but it's like still soft.
All right.
Uh,
What about you, Dark?
What I have for Thanksgiving, just the standard
okay,
turkey
pretty
stuffing.
good.
You know.
What's your
Nice,
favorite?
nice.
What's the best side? From Thanksgiving.
Stuffing and it's probably
Stuffing,
a toss up between
I
stuffing
don't like
and
stuffing.
sweet potato.
Cheese.
Mine's
Mac and
mashed.
cheese.
Ugh, no.
My family does not do mac and cheese at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a super common thing, but I still do like having it at Thanksgiving just
I think
because
mac and
you might as
cheese
well.
is pretty common.
It's somewhat
It's
common,
more,
yeah.
yeah, it's like an indulgence thing. Like you might as well kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what really
Especially if there's kids. Like if there's
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
like mac and cheese is like almost always there.
you know what really grinds my gears?
What?
You have to basically prepare the same thing twice in a month.
Oh
No,
yeah, no, I know what
there's
you're
way
talking
too
about.
much of an
Hey
overlap
man, Thanksgiving is turkey, Christmas ham. There you go.
unless you have ham both times. Then it's like okay.
That's fucked up. You should not be running 2 meats on Thanksgiving. That's like rude.
Because we used to have turkey, but then
Illegal.
everyone is like, "This sucks." So we just buy the turkey. What is it? The smoked turkey slices from Honey Bake. That's
Mm-hmm.
turkey.
Okay.
Other than
Yeah,
that, it's
but
usually just ham.
yeah, pretty
Yeah, but
good.
like, what's the difference between turkeys? Like, other than stuffing, what's the difference between Thanksgiving sides and Christmas sides? There's not really much of a difference, is there?
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
most of it's just
my
kind of
Christmas is fucked up, dude. We have like bagel bites and Totino's pizza rolls for one of the
Oh
courses,
man,
and
it
we do
sounds
like
yeah,
8
fantastic.
courses. So
yeah. Other than maybe turkey and maybe like stuffing, but even like stuffing you can still have for Christmas. Like I'd say pretty much they're the same. Like I agree. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Thanksgiving stuff pretty good. Thank you,
I don't know what
toast.
else. I mean, oh, was that
Oh, okay.
actual 2 weeks? No, I guess that's it. When
Okay.
did I see One Piece? No, that was last. That was the last month. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, that
good.
was the last one. Yeah. Okay. I was kind of just running around again. Came back from Veterans Day weekend, and Veterans Day weekend was sort of um the vacation slash holiday week off I had with my family because my family isn't like really strict with like celebrating all the big holidays or whatever it is. So we just had it over for Veterans Day weekend where it was like cheaper to fly out and stuff like that. So I flew out, except for the fact that like my flight had a layover in fucking LaGuardia over in New York for like freaking 3 hours, which meant that my airplane flight total was like 10 hours, which was kind of silly because my drive over to my family, if I had driven over to my family, it would have taken 8 hours. So it was a little bit silly, but what is wait? Okay, sorry. I was just looking at something in chat. But other than that, it was pretty good in real life. Had my car checked just before the winter hit, just before winter hit, so I don't have to, try to do auto repairs in the freaking, blizzard. And everything turned out fine, so that's pretty good. Pretty quiet. I
Oh
want
yeah,
my
thanks for the reminder about airplane Spire. Because here's some actual news.
what?
My parents went to the Philippines for a while, and then they came back, and guess what they brought back?
Uh-oh. Some sort of like
You,
cold or
you for,
whatever.
what? No,
Well, what did they
you
bring?
forgot. They brought back a karaoke machine. Did you
Whoa, what the
know?
an entire karaoke machine?
Did you know that karaoke machines have a Bluetooth now, and they can sync up to YouTube?
I wouldn't be surprised, but is it like portable enough to like just have it in a package or like what's that all
It's
about?
as big as a suitcase, and it's just
Oh,
basically
okay, okay, okay.
or as big as a speaker. You
Okay,
know,
okay.
the double speaker that
That's
are
pretty
stacked up.
convenient actually. Okay.
What
So are you gonna
no,
turn that up during Christmas?
no,
Oh, okay.
unless you want me to blast like Otto or something, maybe I will.
No, well, I meant with your family. With your family. Are
No,
you gonna? Oh, okay. When do you plan on using?
Do you want me to sing? Like, do you want me to karaoke famous Filipino songs? Because I will. I'll do it.
I thought you were gonna use the karaoke for like big events or whatever it is. But
Like what?
I don't know. Like
Christmas
that's why I mentioned
karaoke?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Also, where would you use
Oh,
the
God damn
karaoke
it! They're
machine?
going to do that, aren't they? Christmas
Probably,
karaoke.
yeah.
That's partly part of
It's
why they brought
portable
it.
too, so like it runs on a 9-volt battery, so you can like drag it along across as you sing Christmas carols to the entire neighborhood. God damn.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else? If that's it. I guess thank you, Toast, for your 2 weeks. And I guess oh wait. Yeah, I was going over my 2 weeks, right? Oh wait. So I had the I kept like mixing it up because Toast was talking about the karaoke. But yeah. But
What VNs have you
yes.
you
Yeah.
so
You're talking
I
yes.
got some questions for I got some new releases that I need your opinion on.
I want to I don't have like a lot of new stuff that I'm reading. I did download Sosa Kanojo finally because that was the award-winning VN of last year, right? Sosa Kanojo no Renai whatever Kanke or whatever it is. Renai Jijo or whatever it was, right? Um and I downloaded that and I want to play it and I asked actually like what were there any like big series that came out after Sosa Kanojo that was like full length and stuff like that? And there were like one or two, but not a lot. Like there are like some medium length, but not like full big series. Um, do have the Wagahime downloaded, and that was like 1 or 2 years ago, and I still want to go through that. But yeah, I'm planning on going through maybe a little bit of Sosa Kanojo here in a little bit of a while. And I also like these aren't like super recent or anything like that, but I was watching some streams of like people playing, I think Dave the Diver, right, on Steam. That was like from last month, right? That was released last month. And like a couple of months back, Stack Clans, that like one like indie card game kind of thing. And I kind of wanted to play those. I don't know why. I've been kind of like drawn to some of those recently, but yeah. Other than that, I it's been pretty quiet on my end too. Just
So
watching some
Spire,
streams.
speaking of VNs,
Yes.
have you played Pizza Delivery Horny 2?
Horny 2. There's a 2. There's a
Damn.
first
So
one.
That's how you
Is
know
what you're
it's
saying.
good.
Boy, no,
They made a sequel, right? Yeah, exactly.
it's made by the famous Umemaru 3D. If you haven't heard of that,
I have no idea.
oh, okay. What about a Super Fatty RPG Expanded?
Super fatty. I know one or two people who would enjoy that in our Discord, and that's not. But that's not for me. I think it's
Warning:
not
this
my
game
style.
contains inflation, weight gain, war,
What?
pregnancy,
What is
politics,
wait? What the fuck
and
is
foul
inflation?
language.
Hello?
Spire,
Fire, shut up,
you
dude.
What the
know,
fuck?
dude.
You're
No, I
such a
don't. I'm not
liar.
You
imagining
You're
it.
know,
such a
dude.
liar,
You know, dude.
dude.
Oh, look at me. I don't know what inflation is. Ooh,
There's
doo-doo.
such
Yeah, okay,
bullshit.
dude.
So fair.
You're.
Because
There's
okay,
no
so this is
way.
my thing. This is my thing. So I like have seen the inflation tag, but I've never clicked it in my life because
Yeah,
like I'm like
okay,
afraid to
dude.
find out what it actually
Okay,
Okay,
is.
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, in
But
my experience, you don't click it. It comes to you, whether you
Listen,
like it or
man,
not.
I just have the tag favorited, so I know not to click on that stuff. Okay.
yeah, just bookmarked like twice on like
Yeah.
different folders. Yeah, but like inflation, they're talking about like natural, like they're talking about like similar to weight gain, right? It's not like a body modification thing, like when they're talking about
No,
No,
bro,
inflation.
they're talking about
it's
economic inflation.
Oh, okay.
that's paramount.
I see. Thanks, Near. I should totally go. I'll totally go read it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
but
talking about voting for our boy Brandon
yeah,
another time.
exactly. But
That's all
yeah,
it is. It's just a bunch of pictures, your favorite characters casting their votes
their
for
votes
Joe
for it.
Biden 2024.
Defeat inflation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah,
I
But
no, I
yeah,
have
it's
not read those
like
PMs.
imagine like, hoses and water and a lot of it.
And just
Wait,
just
you
keep
go.
oh fuck! Oh
There you
no!
just keep
Is
keep
that.
So it's
drinking the
not
water.
natural. Yeah, okay.
Keep drinking. But yeah, for an actual question, have you read Please Be Happy?
Please be happy. What the fuck
I heard
is
it's Korean.
that?
They lied to
That
me.
doesn't mean anything to me in terms of like reading visual novels. Although there has been a recent boom of like Korean made visual novels, but a lot of them are like, they're kind of like Ubisoft visual novels where they just kind of like have people in like a cafe or like a city setting, and then they're just like, oh, oops, whatever, all this stuff, and like they don't really go anywhere really. But it's like there's been a boom of kind of visual novels like that I've noticed. But
Please Be
anyways,
Happy is a comfy slice of life visual novel set in a
this
fictional
says
version
this
of
says
Wellington, New Zealand.
this says it's only in Studio Elan.
Born as a
Yeah,
fox in the forest
this
of
says
Korea,
this
so
says
she's
okay.
Korean.
This literally says there's only an English release, and the studio is made by like this like some like English dude, like
New
whatever,
Zealand, so I
New
mean,
Zealand
if it's
person.
set in New Zealand, it's probably New Zealand.
Yeah, close
But
enough to close enough to Korea.
but the
Whatever.
main character's name is Miho, and she's a fox, a Korean fox. So
Okay.
you can't fool me there. I heard it's all right.
I guess. I mean, it is. I think it's an English visual novel, and it's not a Korean visual novel. We'll see. I mean, the art seems fine for the most part, but but yeah, I have not. I don't mind what I'm reading right now. I might as well check it out, but like I'm not like immediately offended. It's not like one of those like visual novels where it's like, what is it like? What was the Steam one that was on the main page once? What was that one that I posted the screenshot of? What was it? It was like Vampire Sex 2 or whatever it was. What was that one? I forgot the title, but yeah, it's like at least it's not like that. You know what I mean? But I'm fine with this sort of premise. But yeah. Anyways, that was our 2 weeks. Sorry for the tangent as per usual. And we will now move quickly on to our first series, and that'll be covered by Dark. What do you have for us?
I have Gundam, the Witch from Mercury.
Yes, Kidou Senshi Gundam, Suisei no Majo. This is
Are
Sunrise
they
series, right?
actually from Mercury?
Yes, she is. Suletta Mercury is in fact from Mercury. Our
Why not Venus?
protagonist.
You notice that? Why is she from Mercury and not Venus? Because Mercury is the closest to the sun, right? How can someone survive there?
That's why she's brown.
Pretty sure if you could survive on Mercury, you could probably survive on Venus. Like, fairly sure that if you've got the tech, you've got the tech.
There was a whole thing about. I mean, I get
Um,
Jupiter because you can live on Jupiter. There's colonies there. But Mercury? Mercury's I wouldn't want to live on Mercury. It sucks.
But yeah, so this is this series is pretty cool. Is unsurprisingly a Gundam series, and it focuses on our protagonist, Suletta Mercury, which she leaves her home planet of Mercury and enters the Astacasia School of Technology at the behest of her mother. Now, I should probably preface this with saying that there is a prologue episode that's like kind of, I mean, it's very important. Like you don't have to watch it technically, sort of, kind of, but like you should because kind of the entire setup and like past of the story. So probably do that. And let's see. So she joins that school. As she's going to that school, she winds up saving someone who seems to be in like she's like free floating in like a spacewalk. Because the school is in space, by the way. I should probably add that. The school's entirely in space. It's like a big old giant space station school. And the person she happens to save is Miorine Rembrandt, who is the like rich daughter of you know, big influential guy. And so you could see, it gets into that stereotypical thing of her father set up something where it's like she has to marry whoever the title holder for duels in that school is. And she obviously doesn't like that, so she keeps trying to escape. And that's kind of where the show starts off, with Suletta saving her and Mionine not exactly being ecstatic about being saved during a escape attempt. To skip ahead a little bit, Suletta winds up beating her current fiance in a duel, which labels Suletta as Mionine's fiance instead.
Nice.
And
How old are they?
then, 17, I think, 18
Okay,
for
that's fair.
Mionine.
It's never too early
That
for
has
Yuri.
never
so
stopped. That has
just
never
making
stopped
sure.
anime before, friend.
If Japanese writers could have a chance, they would be writing about Yuri series between two fetuses. That's
Yeah,
that's pretty much how it goes.
It's no rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
No holds barred.
Yeah, so to not like get into like super big spoilers, it kind of like the series starts kind of surrounding itself in sort of just like semi-political stuff, but it's more so like corporations, like the corporations that have a stake in the school and the mobile suits that are like watching this, because Gundams have been banned from years prior because they kill people on the inside too, not just by being used. They also kill the pilot. So yeah, the Gundam system has been outlawed, and people are suspecting Suletta's Ariel is a Gundam, but she thinks it's just a mobile suit that she grew up with. You'll know more just straight up from the prologue to begin with. A lot more, which the show does seem to be like sort of considering itself, considering like if you didn't watch it as well. That's why I was saying it's not super necessary, but there is something that you would know from the prologue that I assume the show is going to like fully reveal at some point. But yeah, so it turns into a lot of people being like, is this thing a Gundam? I bet it's a Gundam. And then it turns out, mostly every other corporation is building Gundams and trying to use them, or trying to develop some way of Gundams like not killing the pilot through human experimentation and such. And so everyone's really interested in Ariel because, it seems to be the one Gundam, along with Suletta, being the one pilot who feels like zero negative effects from piloting it. Including her mother in the show, who is, very much a sort of deceitful character and not her biological mother, and winds up like, hiding the truth from her and sort of like trying to play everyone essentially to really like no real well-known end. So I assume we'll get to that. And it kind of goes from there. It's a lot of school, a lot of high school stuff, a lot of drama. You got the spacist people who think
So you have
folk are
Speaking of
no good.
speaking of piloting systems, Dark, what's your take? Is it going to be a good end or a bad end for the main character? Because is she gonna suffer from cyberpsychosis, or is she gonna die to the alive vagina system? What's your take on it? Who's the writer?
I think what's gonna happen is it's
I mean,
gonna
she's probably just a new type, right?
yeah, like she's just gonna be fine. Like
That's what they said about David.
Yeah, except David very clearly was dying the moment he tried using his his implants. So we know how
So
that
my
goes. But like, honestly, how I think this is gonna wind up ending is it's gonna be like a semi. Probably gonna be bittersweet. It's probably gonna be a fine ending, but it's gonna be more so about overcoming the like weird like political deceit that's like kind of surrounding these two characters and them living free instead.
My
so there's like
I feel
my
like
there's like a
that's
take,
how
lot.
it's gonna
my take,
like sort of
she's
go
gonna
right.
be fine. Cause why? Cause she's not a dude.
Yeah.
Well, considering the fact that this series is taking so much from Utena, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, so that'll be fine. Good, good. Cause I don't. I'm already bored of the heroic sacrifice.
So I'm curious about.
Well, there's
I
not going to be
guess.
sacrifice. Like that's the other thing. This series is not about like open Gundam battles. It is very
Yeah,
much
there's no
like
war,
company
right?
deceit.
So,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
it's just
Yes,
them like
It's
yes.
just
dueling
about the main
for
character trying to
I
get
mean,
through because she's special or whatever, right? And like
I
people
get
aren't
I
gonna.
get that it's a Gundam series, so it's like it's very possible that they could just be out like just really just randomly pull out like, yeah, there's war now. But I feel like that would be really
that would
bad.
require a lot because that would
Yeah, that
require
would be really
time skip.
dumb.
That would require. I mean, that would essentially dissolve the series because the entire the entire premise of the school is the different like corporations sort of vying for like showing off their mobile suits and shit. So it's like,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
like wealthy investors coming in and stuff like that. So considering this is a lot more like corporate like focused in that sense, I don't think we're gonna see like war stuff because that will really throw off a lot of this.
A 17-year-old going into war? Gee, that wouldn't
Yeah,
happen
that
in
would
a
never
Gundam
happen.
series.
Not in a
That would
Gundam
never happen in
series.
Gundam. Ain't no way.
Uh, so so there's a lot of things to balance in this series, right? Where it's like it's the girl sort of finding out more about the Gundam stuff that she's piloting, as well as I guess more about herself, and then the tension between the corporations and how that drama develops and integrates back into the main girl, the relationship between the two girls and the academy, life and kind of that interpersonal development, as well as finally the sort of classism, politics kind of corporations kind of thing that is it adds the corporate edge, but it's also reminiscent a little bit of, the Aldnoah Zero sort of classist sort of surface level. It's not that deep. Surface level theme creation, right? Or theme playing that theme. So, do you think it does a good balance of, of course the action sequences? Duh. Do you think this series does a good job of balancing all of that on the screen? Because it is a lot of balls to juggle for sure.
I would say yes, especially because there have been episodes of full like slice of life. There have been
Mhm.
episodes of full. The most recent episode was like no combat. It was all. It was like a an investor like venture capitalist essentially like party, um,
Okay.
and like trying to like fund projects and stuff like that. So this was
Right.
like a full episode based on like character interaction, deceit, things coming through a head, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think the show has definitely done. I think it's been. I think it's done a really good job at spinning those plates. It's the like classist stuff or whatever, or like however you want to call. Like what did I don't even know what you would call it. Like because it's not really like classist. It's just like they're from Earth. Like you're a fucking scumbag. Like you're nothing.
Mhm.
Um, so like that kind of was
I mean,
tackled
that's
for a
still
few
classism.
episodes.
It's well, you can call it
It's
like
still a
essentially
caste, like it's still a caste
Yeah,
system
it's like
that's
a
like,
cast like type
rubbing
thing.
and
past.
having
It's
conflict with
like
each other.
yeah, most easily understood. Like
Yeah, that's true.
the
Because
clear
they
the
do call them
clear
like
way.
like country folk and shit
Yeah,
like that. Like
technically. So this is sort of where I think how do I say this? It's sometimes where deficiencies in Japanese anime writing come in, and specifically Japanese anime writing, because they haven't had as much of a discussion as, say, again, maybe some people in the UK or some people in the US or in the West about, these sorts of matters. But I would say that technically it is like conflict between two identity groups or two kind of like you could call it like ethno sort of ethno national conflict kind of thing, right? And
Yeah.
how that gets resolved. But the thing is, Japanese writers fundamentally write that as classism. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Where it's like
Yeah.
on the surface it's like identities, but the way they write it out is pretty much always like class conflict. So yeah.
But yeah,
But
I think they've done all that pretty well, just because they've
So,
kind of left it to enough room in an episode, and usually not tried to like, if an episode is going to tackle that, not try to have like big action during it, and then there's usually a episode that's half of this is going to be character interaction and development, and then the last like third or something is going to be a battle, a duel.
so Spire, are you saying you're an old type or are you a new type?
I have no idea what that means.
Is your
We're
soul
all
weighed
new
down by
types, dude. We're
gravity?
gamers. Okay?
Where would you rather live, Spire? On Earth or in space?
If it's like Gundam, maybe probably in space. If it's
Damn,
the Gundam universe.
damn,
But
you're a space Nazi.
yeah, I apologize for being a Nazi.
Goddamn Zeeks.
Yeah. This
But,
guy pilots pink mechs and calls them red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a
Oh,
second
yeah, that's
question.
another thing that this series features. This series features a like a purple fucking mobile suit and calls it red,
Yeah.
and it's very fucked up.
So
Let's
I
let's.
had yeah. Okay, no, go on.
What you gonna more talk about the geopolitical climate, Spire?
No, I was gonna bring up another question just
Because
about
I was gonna ask. Let's talk about the actual Gundam part. But if you want to bring up
Wait,
politics, go ahead. We can go through that first.
I was just gonna ask an innocent question.
Well, I mean,
Toast.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go for it. Go for it. Shoot.
I was just,
I
I was
want to talk about
Yeah,
the
ask
Gundams.
your question, idiot. Go
yeah,
on.
I apologize, but in advance. But I was just asking, again. I don't really, and I said this before the podcast, but I don't really go out of my way to watch Gundam. And I'm not gonna
Damn.
pretend I have Gundam
Why are
knowledge.
you even
And
here then?
yeah, why do I even live? Might as well just go away. It's it's like Hawaiian pizza to me, where it's like I don't dislike it. In fact, I'm fine with eating it.
You
It's just that
should.
I don't go out of
It's okay
yeah.
because
It's just
like
that I don't go
when you
out of my
think about
way
it,
to like yeah.
you at least that
um,
means you also missed IBO second season. So
it balances out. It balances
yeah,
out.
you're kind of doing well at least. You
Yeah.
at least dodged that.
Overall, I admit, yeah. Overall, there
Yeah.
less. Overall, it's a negative impact if I had watched it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I was just wondering.
you did lose a negative. So
Yeah. So my question was, if I had not watched any Gundam series and I'm just coming in, and this kind of points to some of the articles that I kind of we talked about right before the podcast. But if I just came in as a complete Gundam newbie, would I be able to watch this series really without any real problems? And second, um, can you opine a little bit? Can you give us your opinions on sort of the recent interviews that they had about the series where it was like, um, when they were talking about how when a couple of like grade schoolers came over for a field trip to Sunrise Studios, uh, the grade schoolers were like, "Oh, Gundam is for old people. We don't like so we I don't watch Gundam because that's for old people or whatever they said." And so they tried to make Gundam for like a new generation, whatever that means. And then they also said in another interview, I forget if it was Yoshiyuki Tomino, the sort of general principal creator of Gundam, or if it was somebody else. But no, I think it was one of the producers, right? It was not Tomino
I
himself.
think it
But
was the art director.
yeah, yes. But he said that which for Mercury was like the first time where they were really kind of upfront allowed to do a female protagonist, like, and before that it was like impossible or like they were just not allowed to do it or whatever.
Just
Can you
fucking
opine on
stupid.
that as well? So first
yeah,
is would I be able to watch Gundam without, or this Witch from Mercury specifically, without any real problems, just as a complete Gundam newbie? And two, can you give us your opinions on the article?
So you can, but
Mhm.
like certain things are gonna like it's like you can, but you do need to either be willing to like see things and be like, oh okay, like that is something that these things can do, like with fucking bits and shit and like funnels.
Mhm.
Like you kind of
Right.
need to like you're not like if you haven't watched Gundam, like you're not gonna know the terminology. But as far as I understand, I don't think this is
Right.
connected in any
Is it-
way, shape, or form to another
No,
part
it's
of Gundam's
it's
timeline.
outside. It's like its own separate thing.
It's
I'm pretty sure.
it's an AU. But
Yeah.
yeah, if we're gonna go on back on that topic, is this better than or worse than a introduction to Gundam than Iron Blooded Orphans? Because I didn't like Iron Blooded Orphans that much. I would not call
It
IBO
depends on
a
what I
traditional
mean. This
Gundam
is
series.
probably an easier series to watch as an introduction. IBO though kind of like sets you up more for like
It's-
mainline Gundam, but it's just the
Yeah, I
problem
think
is that IBO
I
winds
think
up just
IBO has a
not being
better.
good. Like,
I think IBO has a better initial like sort of like easing you into like the world of Gundam.
The standard Gundam
And like
universe.
yeah, like the idea of like a world where war is fought with giant fucking robots.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, Ceci on the
and
chat just said like this is slightly worse introduction just because it has like the whole like high school academy with the
yeah,
villain.
so I've only seen episode 1 of Witch from Mercury. So pretty much all I've seen is like it's largely like just the school setting stuff. Um, but yeah, in terms of like it being a Gundam series, like I feel like if this is your very first Gundam show, you're kind of just gonna be like, oh, okay, so there's just mechs, right?
Yeah,
Like
there's
it's
girls
the-
and Gundams.
yeah,
Also,
it's like it's like oh yeah, the Gundam is like outlawed, but it's like as a new viewer, it's like you don't really know what that means. Like that doesn't really mean anything to you. But then they
yeah,
still
it
have
eventually-
mechs. They still have
yeah,
mechs,
eventually
and they
get
look like
to it.
fucking Gundams. So it's like what's happening? Like what's going on? I think it's
I mean,
not
because
really
it's
the
also
best.
like then you're gonna see another mech and you're gonna be like, well, that thing doesn't look like the way like RX looks or like fucking
Yeah.
Ariel looks or
Um,
Exil, like all these other, like that.
Yeah.
Why is that one a Gundam if it's not blue, red, white, and yellow? What the fuck?
yeah, but
that one's great.
I think in terms of like a Gundam series, I think the setup for Witch from Mercury isn't great. But in terms of being like a very beginner friendly series, I mean, again, like Toast said, it's an AU. It's not connected to anything else. It's a very different setting for Gundam.
You're
Like
right,
the
right.
school setting has never really been done for Gundam. And I think it's pretty open. It's pretty like beginner friendly in terms of just like raw setting characters, general setup. But yeah, I've only seen
I
episode
kind of
one.
get guys get.
One
Yeah,
thing
I get where you
it's
guys
a
are coming from.
series. It's a series you can definitely watch without it. It's just not a good starting point for like being like, oh, okay, I'm going to use this to get into Gundam. It's
Yeah.
It's probably a good enough starting point in the sense of introducing people to like, hey, here's cool robots. Like,
Yeah, I think
that's
it's a
probably
good. I think
fine.
it's a good entry point as somebody who's like new to mecha.
I would
But-
not say that. I would say that I would be completely different from that because as a beginner standpoint to the technology introduced as a Gundam series, it's already set a
Yeah,
new.
but I feel like that doesn't matter.
It does.
Like,
in a way.
I feel like for
It's-
a beginner, that's not really gonna matter, right? Like you're gonna see like
if
mean,
if we're gonna
Toast-
compare it as a
Toast, a
gonna com-
beginner doesn't really care about what fucking operating system a pilot is using when they're piloting a mech.
it's not the
Like,
operating system I'm worried about. It's the techno from every Gundam series so far starts from the ground up and works their way towards better technology. Like you've got the basic stuff and whatnot, and it took them a while. So I'm basically pointing out that right off the beginning they start with funnels and bits. That's advanced tech in every other Gundam series. You don't
Well, I
get
mean,
that
this is still
for
technically
a
advanced because the
waypoint.
only two mobile suits that have used it have been Gundams that have
And
used
that's what I'm
funnels and
talking
bits.
about. It's the power scaling for
And
like
so,
the
well,
bits
yeah, but like
is
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you also
Like,
have to realize this is a show that's very clearly like aping Utena, and so it's very likely going to be like it's probably going to be pulling from some magical girl like inspirations, and this show is probably going to ass pull some insane shit with the Gundams.
Right.
I mean
Like,
they
Yeah,
already
I can
kind
kind of
of
see it.
they already kind of pseudo explain why Gundam Ariel already has bits. And I'm like, I guess that makes sense, but I still don't like it.
I
I'm
mean,
talking about the
like a beginner person to Gundam and like Mecha series, like they're
that's
just
why I
along,
mean,
like
like
they're
this
along for the ride. Like they
this
don't
isn't a
really,
good-
they don't
I
really
care.
care about. Yeah, you care because you are a Gundam fan. You are a Mecha fan. You have like the fucking hyper autism about like the vents and the bits and shit. Like a person that's new to Mecha, like they don't care. Like
How
they see the Gundam, it looks cool, it shoots a fucking laser beam, and
Yeah,
then the girls kiss.
I think
Like
how
I
dare
yeah.
they introduce
Yeah,
the magic
and so that's
space
why I
metal
mean-
already?
That's why I mean, like, this is way better as like just an intro series, like not so much to
As a tasting
not so
session
much to
almost.
Gundam
Yeah.
Right.
as a like like mainline Gundam, but to like get into it, be like, oh, I like these suit designs, I like these fights, that's really
Right.
fun, and then maybe
So it's
go
like
watch another
yeah.
part of it, and then you'll be like, oh, okay.
All I'm
Because
saying
even this
is
series, like for the Gundam interface, like I was saying, like when they introduce like Gundam and shit, and they question like, oh, well, how is this different from someone who's just using like the twin sticks and shit for piloting a mobile suit? And one of the scenes they show is one person like zoning out into being like in first person piloting like the Gundam as their own hands and shit. So that
Mhm.
gives like a new person being like, oh, okay, like this is why like a Gundam is different, like a Gundam is special because you have a way different like connection to this machine
Mhm.
and
but
like
the thing
precision that
is,
you wouldn't be possible with another one.
it's like funnels and bits and Psycho Frame BS has always been the pinnacle of Gundam the universe. If you're starting off with that, where can they go from there?
They're gonna
They're
shoot
probably
fucking
not
gay
gonna
homo
go. Yeah,
laser
they're just gonna
beams, bro.
shoot big
Like
lasers. Like that's it. Like
I
They'll-
I guarantee you there's going to be a rainbow
they'll
fucking
do
laser
that. They'll
beam
probably
that is
have like
shot
a
out of the
Trans
face or
Am.
the chest of the
But
Gundam.
that's
Like
still I mean, I want like how
They'll use
my
like a
my pea
Trans
brain
Am
can't
system.
comprehend
Like
the upgrade
that's
system
it.
so far. 'Cause we got a unicorn. We already got unicorn with its magic psycho frame stopping a colony laser. So like, and they was doing that with magic funnels. So how can you
I
improve
mean,
upon magic funnels?
the other thing is though, is that you're saying this, but the thing with this series right now is again, they're not going to be upgrading the system when the system is still just fucking killing people. Like we're on episode 8 and they've only just established like minor spoiler, they're establishing essentially here's the new content, the new company, Gundam Inc. And that's
Nice
going to
name.
be owned by Miorine. So like they're gonna research it, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it like safely. We're gonna make sure like this shit is on lock. But that also means that you're not gonna have like this series be like an 80 episode fucking series where they're like going to war with each other using different like fucking Gundam like upgrades constantly. It's just like they still need to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, a person can use this and it doesn't melt their fucking brain. Like, so I really don't see this kind of running into this problem.
I better be wowed by Ariel's upgrade, or else I'll be like, yeah, or else I'll be sorely disappointed because you played your funnel card too early.
I think it's no I really do like I think it's a great sort of comparison slash analogy that you all guys made where it's like so it kind of seems like where Wits for Mercury is more like a sort of Costco like sample tasting session or like an exhibit of like what
Kirkland
uh,
brand.
of like Gundam like can have like might like exhibit some of these elements kind of thing, and then whereas IBO is more like a starter guide kind of thing. Um,
I
so
mean,
I
IBO
think
has
that's
that. I would compare like Witch for Mercury is almost similar to. Yet, though, I would also consider those to be probably better entry series just for Gundam specifically. Even
Mhm.
I think a good midpoint is like if this is on one side and like IBO is on the other. I think the midpoint is still probably going to be like Build Fighters in a
Mhm.
way, just because it's like there's so much trivia there. There's so much like explanation shit that you're
I
probably
mean,
going
the
to get a
build
better
series is
grasp.
also like an insane amount of fan service and references too. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like and
people,
since they're
if
talking
you're
about
watching
like
those as a
events of
beginner, like,
Gundam, like
I feel like you're gonna be a bit lost. Like,
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
be
be
lost on
overloaded
like
with fucking
that.
information.
But yeah, like you're gonna be learning a lot. Uh, let's just say, but yeah.
so
So I think I would say this is still like this is definitely for what it's trying to do and what it's trying to
Mhm.
be pretty successful. To be like an
so
accessible show just to like get people familiar with the IP.
right. And so on that note, do you think this is a uh sort of a permanent change in direction and a successful permanent change in direction? Because I know like they tried to for like the quote unquote new generation or whatever that they want to do, right? Um and again
Every
including
10 years, you always have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They always try to remake the old
Yeah.
Gundam series, but every
They
time
they they, they
there's a
said
new
the same thing about,
generation.
I mean,
Reconquista, right?
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think
Reconquista
until
sucks.
Tomino just straight up dies, like
Yeah.
you're
Uh,
just going to keep getting this formula where it's like every few years you get a Reconquista, you get a Witch from Mercury,
uh-huh.
you get these like oddball series.
Right.
But the rest of it's just gonna be like Char's Revenge number 86. Like, you know what I
Well,
mean?
to be fair, Near, we still have 2 more movies of Hathaway's Flash.
Yeah. I mean, Hathaway's Flash is good, but it's like how many series and movies have we gotten? Like, it's a bit absurd.
Mhm.
And a lot of Gundam series,
They're still alive, so you can
yeah,
milk them.
I don't know why. They should have died like fucking 40 years ago. I'm gonna be honest.
No, I'm talking about the voice actors, Near. I'm not
I
talking about the
mean,
actual characters.
yeah, I mean the characters
Oh, they're
should
dead.
just. I mean, yeah, they are, and don't need to be expanded upon. Like they're iconic characters, and like that they can stay there. Like you don't need to make 80 movies about them. You don't need to make,
Mhm.
you know, 10 more series about Amuro. Like it's not
Near,
necessary.
Near, did you not watch Cruise Doan's Island? That's Gundam the Origin.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
okay.
like I don't know. I don't know. It's I feel
Mhm.
like we've got like Gundam. Like this statement, like Sparta said earlier, where the kids were like, Gundam is a series for old people, right? Where it's like
Oh, yeah, that would
when
be
you have a series that has, in many ways, like stagnated to the point where it's basically like stuck in the 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's retreading the same stories like over and over and over again with the
Mhm.
same characters, um, and it's just kind of putting a new coat of paint on them, like for this long. Yeah, like most people are gonna have the perception that, you know, Gundam is a series for old people because it's like
Right, right.
to even like we were talking about earlier, like the idea of getting into Gundam. It's like you have to look at all this like timeline bullshit and like the chronology of like
Mhm.
Amuro and Char's stories because there's just so much. There's so much shit with like these two characters.
Mhm.
Um, and that's like 80% of the series. It's like you don't really get, weird shit like Requiem G or
one
Witch
talks
from
about
Mercury,
Urusei and G.
or a G Gundam. Like you don't get like these weird standalone stuff like that.
Mhm.
You just get, like the war over and over and over again.
Right.
And it can be very tiresome. So I do think like series like this are very good for Gundam, and good for
Mhm.
mecha in general, because unfortunately, Gundam is kind of carrying the mecha genre on its back, for better and worse.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
What was the-
It's
what was
still
the
the
do think,
face. That's the problem.
Yeah.
yeah, I do think until I don't like
Nier, you
saying it.
didn't like
I really
Darling in the
don't like saying
Franxx?
it. No, I was a Darling in the Franxx defender, but no, I did not like Darling. But yeah, I don't like saying it, but I do think until Tomino just like kicks the bucket and like, you know, like new, like Talon is able to kind of just do whatever they want with the Gundam
Mhm.
series, you're just gonna get this same thing where it's like you'll get, an IBO here and there, you'll get a Witch from Mercury every 10 years, and the rest will just be Amuro and Char until we
Mhm.
fucking just get sick of it.
Right. Right.
The only thing is that as long as Tomino is alive, no one will be able to touch the UC.
Yeah,
There's only been one other person who touched the UC, and that was what is his name? Harutoshi Fukui for Unicorn. He's
yeah.
probably the only one who's made a sizable inclusion in the UC. But other than that, no one's touching.
Yeah.
No one's touching
To,
the
to,
UC.
to also put this directly into perspective, Gundam Build Fighters, which I think was also a great idea, like a great, uh, fucking sort of like entry. Um, that was also straight up 9 years ago, like
Yeah.
9 years and a month ago. So
I
yeah,
mean,
it's like the fact that it went from that to like try to Divers way later, like way further on. I would say Divers was less successful, and
I
then the
mean, I
Divers sequel, which was a fucking set as an ONA. It's just like these things should be more frequent, like originals. I feel like should be coming out.
I mean,
And
So
I hope
I
I would
s-
hope that I don't think this is like a trend setter for them. I think it is
Mhm.
just going to be kind of like
I think if it's successful
standard.
enough, it will influence the series in a big
it will be
way.
a precedent. It'll be a
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
precedent.
I would hope that the success of this does do that, because
Mhm.
having more like original stories with under the Gundam IP is very cool.
Mhm.
the
And
thing
again,
is,
as Nier said, probably crucial for the
most of
series.
these original stories, they're not really synonymous with the whole Gundam name in the end. Because going back to what Nier said about Tomino, even though Unicorn was, like in my opinion, a pretty good addition to the UC universe, in the end, the whole Unicorn stuff is in the end inconsequential to the UC storyline. Like it's a good addition, but for the overall
Yeah, but it
story,
doesn't
it
need to
does
be.
not.
Like that's the thing, is like you're focusing on the overall story, but it's like that's why kids are like Gundam is for fucking old people.
That's the thing. It's
Because you're like,
I mean,
oh, it doesn't influence the story. It's like, who cares?
if you want Gundam to be, no longer for old people, you have to either like somehow make a new universe that's
Yeah, you have to make the new
going to be
timeline.
better
Yeah.
than
I think the
UC, or at
way
least cut
if
off
they
Tomino entirely and try
well,
to.
the thing is, if they want to continue with the UC, which I think is fine. I think it's like the UC is cool, right? It's
Reconquista
it's like
wasn't
it's
good.
iconic, right? Well, sure, but like
Reconquista is UC, and that wasn't good. That's the
yeah,
problem.
but it's like I mean, you can have bad series in the UC. You can have bad Gundam series. There are plenty of bad Gundam series, but it's like I think if you want to keep the UC like as like the main like Gundam like project, like you kind of have to treat it. I think at this point, like going forward, they have to start treating it like Star Wars, where like, yeah, like the big shit's over, and
Oh,
now
and then you kind of try
now
to
you
make
yeah
these
now
like
you just sort of
post stories
you
aside
tell
side offs
stories
until one of them takes off.
within
Yeah.
this universe, and
Okay.
they don't have to be these big sweeping super
Yeah.
influential like universe saving stories. They could just be very personal, like small scale stories,
Right.
or
That's what
and they can keep making them until one of
that's
them
what
takes off.
Unicorn was. But it's like
Yeah.
okay, but here's after that Unicorn, Hathaway's Flash, and it's like okay, man.
People are enjoying those. I mean, I feel like people were a little bit too critical of Unicorn when it was coming out, but like I do feel like that's the way that
critical
UC
opinions I
needs to
heard
be
of
treated.
Unicorn is that Unicorn is it sets up this hope for the future stuff, but it's made inconsequential because it's right afterwards it's Hathaway's Flash and Hathaway's like I hate everything.
Yeah.
I'm a terrorist. And it's like oh, I guess Ben Azur's whole thing about the Laplace box was all for nothing. And it's like it's the old people's fault. Hathaway's Flash, what is it? That stupid thing like what is it? Gaia something? Gaia gear? That's thousands of years in the future. Those were made a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like god damn you old men. How dare you? We can't extend the UC because you've already done that back in the old days.
So
But yeah, I think ultimately my final thoughts on like that is just that like I think at least for now, like until whenever in God's name they decide to calm down essentially with like DC, like I think these are fine. And I think having more of these is at least effective to sort of like branch out the Gundam IP, and then have like all of the UC shit there for people who want to go through, like go back. But then you do want to have more. That's why I think they should do more of these then in the meantime, unless if they're going to eventually get to the point like Nier said that Star Wars, um, have more of these just trickle in so that people who are into Witch from Mercury aren't waiting another like 5 years for something else.
Right, exactly. Sort of have like two lines, kind of like how yeah, like just have kind of like
You
two
can't
separate
be
like
like, all right, here's
second waves.
Gundam Witch from Mercury.
Mhm.
We're doing another go watch Hathaway's Flash. Like no.
If
Like
just continue Witch of Mercury past this point and be like, hey, here's more spin-offs of Witch of Mercury. It's like, okay,
I mean, you
man.
could do that. That is also another potential thing to do that. I mean, they did do that technically with Build Fighters. Having this as another leap off point wouldn't be too bad.
But the most important thing is to make more animes of another AU because
Yeah.
I don't like name another alternate universe Gundam that has an anime past the original storyline. You're I don't think I can name any. It's all UC.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you mean,
Like
like
IBO?
a longer running one, like a
Yeah,
longer running Gundam?
like IBO. Do you think there's going to be any more anime past that? No, they're pretty much done.
I mean, literally Build Fighters is the only one that I
Yeah.
know of because it's Build Fighters Try, which takes place I think 10 or 20 years later. And then there's Build Divers, which takes place like way
That's it.
later.
And then like the last one I can name is probably like Double O Gundam. They had a movie, so and I think a stage show. Good for them. But it. And then there's the Seed manga, but I'm talking about anime. So you can make all the manga you want. I'm talking about anime. So other than Build Divers, you're pretty much it's all you see from here, baby.
Yeah, I mean the point is definitely very well taken about again. I think everybody
Like
here agrees.
man, I just want just make another Rikangisenji, but this time don't make it suck.
Make it not
Please?
bad.
Because the sound design in this series and like the actual visuals is really good.
Mhm.
I mean, Reconquista had some good sound designs too, but like it sucked. So
Yeah.
just please try and make this one good too,
Yeah.
for everyone's sake.
So just again, since we are coming up on like an hour of Gundam, which I don't mind that much because again, it is a big series and it's it's part of sort of the continuation, the fate of Gundam in the modern era. So I'm fine with
Gundam
having
will
this longer.
never die.
Yeah, I'm fine with having this discussion. But just to make it a little bit more brief, I just want you to Dark to sort of briefly opine on again the producer talking about the female protagonist, the impossible female protagonist
Yeah,
or
that was
whatever.
just stupid. That was just dumb. Like, there's nothing else to say about that other than it was. It's a really stupid fucking statement
I mean,
to
a
make.
lot of that I think just sort of plays back into what I said about Tomino, where it's like
Yes. It's like the it's not that like
it's
everybody
a
in the
very old
culture
head
is like
attitude that's holding the series
The
back.
people at the very top, again like Tomino, mainly Tomino, are just kind of this is the exact type of Gundam that we want, like Gundam like franchise that we want, and we're just gonna stick to it until something pushes us over the edge, or like we want to kind of be like, oh, let's be quote unquote creative and actually have a female whatever for it once, right? So yeah,
No,
and
no
yeah,
females in Gundam allowed. Only
Ye-
Amuro and Char.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're only allowed to
Remember,
have we're no females because then it gets less gay. Okay,
Yeah.
so
remember,
we're
remember
not
that one
allowed to have
scene?
that.
That one scene in freaking Char's counterattack. Remember, like Amuro, I'm doing something wicked. You're there, feel my presence, and I'm like, damn, that's pretty gay.
Yep. Char and Amuro are extremely gay, but
Remember
listen,
when they fought over a chick?
yeah,
But then they're like, damn,
damn.
feel my presence.
You, I wanted all along.
Like
and so
that whole movie was, oh, I feel Char. Oh, I feel Amuro. Like, oh, and then it's like, Chen, who's that? You died. Who cares?
Yeah,
Damn, the only important chicks in in that movie died too.
yeah.
Koes and Chen.
I mean, that's kind of just a running theme in Gundam is like really any like female character that's like kind of important like explodes. So
Except Sayla. Sayla was like,
yeah,
I'm out. Bye. Sayla got out scot free,
right.
even though
Uh,
she's Char's sister.
so one last question before I guess I do want to
Okay,
obviously
what was the
audio visuals. I
third one
think
again?
no, it
Well,
wasn't a third one. I think you covered all three, and then I was just trying to finish up with what do you think of the audio visuals for this one?
oh, I mean they're great. Like
Yeah, sound
the
design's
music's
great.
been really good. Sound design has been really, really fucking awesome. Like music pacing has been really good. Visuals are fantastic. Like,
Right,
You can tell there's a lot of love put in this series. Like,
right.
agree.
yeah.
Okay, so pretty good. I guess any last words? Again, sorry for wrapping it up, but we do actually have other series to review other than Witch from Mercury. So, any last words on the series?
Yeah, watch it. It's good. Good
All right,
series. Very cool.
yeah, pretty
Um
good, pretty good. Yep.
doesn't seem to be queer bait yet. Doesn't
But
seem.
Dark, they're already fiance. Ha ha ha. Episode 1.
Yeah. I mean they are reiterating that like frequently enough to where it's like I mean I am still worried that they're gonna use it as queer bait, but I don't think
I don't mind.
I don't know.
They were
They keep kind of like dissuading, like kind of like doing a little like, hey, are we gonna do it? Is she actually gonna like? Is there gonna be a dude? Is there gonna be a dude coming in? And they're like,
no.
not really. Don't
You
worry
think
about
a dude could come between Sailor Uranus and Mercury? I don't think so.
All right, pretty good. Again, that was Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury,
Oh
Kidou
yeah,
Senshi.
what's your rating, Dark?
Nice.
10 out of 10. Got Gundams,
What's-
it's got girls.
Name one series you like more than Witcher Mercury, and one series you like worse. It has to be Gundam.
Yeah, what's your favorite Gundam?
Yeah, what's your favorite Gundam?
My favorite Gundam series?
Yeah.
Probably fucking G, to be honest.
It's fair.
Okay.
I really like G.
acceptable.
It's respectable.
Everyone likes G. If you don't like G, you're a damn liar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do really like this. I probably like original build fighters a little bit more and like try just because I liked how stupid and like referencey they were. And I definitely like IBO less because IBO is just
Yeah, well, IBO is
at the
not
end of
very
it
good.
horrendous. Like
so.
it's just bad. So IBO had my hopes up and then it fucking took everything from me. So
It has good memes though.
yeah, I mean, at least we got that after getting baited into watching the world's like longest fucking train wreck. Week by week, I was there for fucking part 2's week by week episodes where
New
one
death
episode
flag
ends.
every episode.
Yep, exactly. And I was like, oh, I guess I get to watch this character die next week. And every week, I wasn't disappointed. And literally
Well, so
every
yeah,
week, I was like, surely this week they're not going to do it.
as
Surely
Sission
this
says,
one was
at
the
least
red
IBO gave us Barbados. So
I do, yeah, I do
True.
like the constant upgrade forms. That's good progression.
Yeah, IBO's Barbados form is really good. IBO's like mobile suits in general are really cool.
All right.
I like
well,
the
How about-
brown
how-
one was really cool.
All right, how about you, Nier? How would you? What's your rating?
well, I seen one episode. So I rated Revolutionary Girl Utena out of 10.
All right. Well, on that note, we should probably wrap up. Again, thank you, Dark, so much, as well as obviously the rest of you for helping to cover again Mobile Suit Gundam, which from Mercury, Kidou Senshi Gundam, Suisei no Majo. Was obviously Sunrise told me know the entire lot, making it sorry, one of the more uh, sort of, I guess, standalone, unique series to come out, and not the continuation of the main
it's a
timeline.
good, it's a promising series.
Mhm.
But we said that about IBO, so
So again, please do check it out when you have the time. And on that note, we should probably move on here to the next person. Yes, we do have more series to cover other than Wish for Mercury.
Believe
Again,
it or not.
yeah, but again, no, it was good discussion. So I you know,
we should have just made the entire podcast this.
But Fuufu, sorry, Toast. What series do you have to cover?
I don't know.
So Toast series is
Why-
Fuufu Ijou Koibito Miman, or also known as in the English localization as More Than a Married Couple but Not Lovers. Who did
Also
this?
known as Fukoi.
Yes, this is Studio Mother Productions, who did stuff like the sort of Star Blazers Space Battleship Yamato compilation movie. They did season 2 of Arifureta, and then they've done
Wow.
key animations
Star
in between.
Blazers? I've never heard of Star Blazers. I've heard of Uchi Senkan, but
Yeah.
is
Apparently,
that
that's
it?
what they call it in the. It's a 20.
Uchi
Hold on,
Senkan Yamato is called Star Blazers? Gross.
Yeah, apparently. But it's I think they did the 2205 like compilation stuff. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and they did Art for season 2. They did a couple of in between key animations for a couple of other series. They were helped to
they did all the Arifuritas, or is it just season 2?
I think they mainly headed Art for season 2. I think they helped with like season. They might have
gross.
helped with season 1. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, they did a couple of stuff like that, and Toast, do you want to take it from there?
You like Nisekoi Spire?
No, I can't say that I do.
you
I can't
like-
say that I do, Toast.
You like Toradora?
I guess I definitely do like Toradora more than Nisekoi. Yes.
Damn, well then that's what
That's a
this
hot
series
take.
is.
Wait,
whole-
so is it like Toradora or is it like Nisekoi?
Yes,
Which one?
both.
Oh, it's like both. Okay, sure.
Yikes.
Okay,
So it's
the
the
whole
general like we don't match, but then we have to get together anyways.
well, that's why it's called More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers.
Yes,
The whole
sir.
thing is series about there's this what is it? There's this marriage practical, like I think course in their high school where you have to you have to pair up with a boy girl pair and you
Yes.
have to live together
Yes.
and you get a score depending on how doki doki you are. Like
Session said insult core anime.
Like you take a boy and girl pair from your class and whatever, you put them in an apartment together, and wacky hijinks ensue. Apparently, they watch it through a camera in the living room. When they judge if something doki doki happens, like you're acting like a practical couple, you get a point.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, if you get like the A rank with whatever in your couple, you can choose to swap partners with another
Uh-huh.
person who's A rank, and it's like,
Right.
why? Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Wait.
Why?
So can we just get to the ending part? Do these two hook up or what happens? What happens at the end?
What do you mean ending?
Do
There is
do
no ending.
these two main characters are they the ones that get together or do they like separate at the end to
Oh,
like
okay. So the
their
main
original?
character, his name is Jiro.
Yes.
He's the blue-haired dude, and is paired up with with the pink-haired girl, Shiori. No, not Shiori. Everyone hates Shiori. Akari. So it's
Yeah,
like,
Watanabe Akari. Yes.
is the main character Jiro is like, oh, I'm I'm the loser dude who plays video games and it's hard talking to women, but I'm paired up with the Gyaru Akari, and they're like, oh, ew, you're gross, and she's like, oh, ew, you're gross, and he's like, damn, I know, so what? And they're like, the whole thing is they're attracted to different people. Uh, Jiro's attracted to his childhood friend Shiori, and Akari's attracted to the Ikemen dude Minami, but they're both paired with each other. So it's like Jiro's paired with Akari, Minami's paired with Shiori, and they're like, damn, why do I
Huh?
have to be paired up with this bozo?
Okay.
But the whole thing is if you're the top 10, like you get an A rank score in I think is it a month or so, like every month, you have the right to switch your partner. So they're like, okay. So Shiori and Jiro's like, okay, even though we don't get along, let's try and get along and be lovey-dovey so that we get the high
Bro, these
score.
sorry,
And
can I
so we
interrupt you
can
for a second?
what?
these my anime list reviews. It's like not recommended, mixed feelings, not recommended.
Yeah, I know why.
Yeah, this show sounds very enjoyable.
Because they don't like
again, the only
NTR.
interesting thing is like, do they hook up at the end? Do these two main like the pink hair girl Akari, right, and the main guy Jiro, do they hook up at the end? That's the
You
important
like
part, right?
Toradora spot? You like
Yeah.
Toradora and
I'm
Nisekoi
wondering.
Spire? Well, probably.
Probably.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah. Sure.
Probably
Okay.
because the series is not over yet.
Okay. Yeah. But it's relatively predictable in like what it's doing, right? In terms of like,
Yeah.
oh, we don't match up at first, but wait, you're actually nicer than I expected. You know that thing, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
so the
Yeah.
whole series about them. Oh, get points to in order to swap our partners.
Mhm.
But maybe we don't want to. Just
You
just
know, now
saying.
that I think about it, I actually like it when you're really rude and condescending to me all the time. It's
Yeah.
actually
Exactly.
really cute.
If this whole like not being a very good couple fetish is really getting to me. It's like I'm really getting used to it.
What's right? Don't you love rom-coms? That's what this
uh,
is.
yeah,
Stockholm
the
syndrome.
tsundere rom-com thing, right? It's like
But yeah, so I decided to review this series because I read the manga and spoiler, I kind of do like the manga, so that's why I wanted to review it.
okay.
So
You should have just done Witch for Mercury. I'm not gonna lie. You should have just done Witch for
I
Mercury.
mean, did you want me? I could have talked more about Gundam itself, but did you want me to do that? Because I could have.
No, I mean we've already spent the hour, and you've gave
Yeah.
it was a very helpful contribution, especially on your part.
Yeah,
But I just say you should have just hosted. You should have just done you should have been the main host for Witch for Mercury instead of doing this. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, about this series, visuals, it's weird.
Uh,
I like the art style in the manga, and I gotta say the anime does
Does it
not
fuck it up?
do it justice in a way.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean I'm
It,
I'm
the
not I'm not
the animation's kind of a downgrade to the manga because there's a
yeah.
lot of the coloring. There's a lot of weird pastel colorings. It's I always bring it up when it's like this. It does remind me
So
of
the
like
art
rough.
director, the art director is actually it's Akuzawa Naoto, and they did background. Mainly had experience in doing like background art for like stuff like Danganronpa, Uchiage Hanabi, the fireworks movie, Jinryu wa Suitai Shimashita, or Humanity Has Declined. So that may be sort of where the art direction is coming from in terms of this, in my opinion.
There's a not. It's not a lot of kind of you know when you're looking at an anime and you see the sky, right? Not what
Yes.
sky is blue. Not in this series. Sky's kind of greenish. And it kind of looks weird. Kind of looks like the backgrounds itself are weird. They're trying to focus in on the characters, but the shading's weird. Doesn't look really lifelike in a way. I don't know
Mhm.
how to describe it. Um, you know
Yeah.
how I mean, it kinda. It's just weird looking. It looks very unnatural. It's not like, oh, this scene looks lifelike. It's weird.
Right. Right.
Well, but I mean that's just the background, so there's not really the focal point. It's got to be the characters. The characters look all right. Um, whatnot.
The thing is, if I may interrupt just really quickly, like some people might be wondering, like, oh, as Toast mentioned, like, do you like Toradora or whatever? And I said yes, and then I am obviously showing like a sort of negative reaction to this. Sort of the difference is that with this, I mean, Toradora still has that sort of setup as well, but um Toradora is much less railroaded. Like the premise is not as specifically set up. Like the setting is not as specifically set up as much as this one, where it's literally saying, hey, the school is saying you guys got to split up and you guys got to hook up with the people that you don't like or whatever it is, right? And so that sort of railroading to me is is an obvious sort of
It's
turnoff for
unnatural,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like,
Yeah,
and it's a very obvious signal where the whole hurdle is going to be getting over that and being like, oh, actually, you're a better person than I realized, and it's very clear from like 1,000 miles away, which is why I don't like this
the
series.
premise itself is super lackluster. It's like, haha, we're gonna do this. I don't know why. Just
Yes,
because, like, no school would do that in the right minds because these guys are what
I don't
17,
think any organization,
I
period.
mean, what is
17.
the actual like? Does this series like give them like an actual incentive?
It's part of their
Yeah,
curriculum.
because they can swap the couples or
You need
whatever it
to
is,
you
right?
need to
Yeah,
do it to graduate the school.
yeah. You need
That's
to
like,
graduate the school, and if you do well enough, you can swap to a couple that you'd actually like, as long as they have like the good
but
scores
I
as well
mean,
or
but
whatever.
it's like
This is psychotic. Like,
kind of is because the
Yeah.
whole thing is like you can swap to a partner of the top 10. So
Mhm.
it's like, how does that work? Like,
Yeah,
what if you don't like someone in the top 10?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
The whole premise is really stupid.
Yeah.
It's like,
Would
okay,
would
man.
you would you rather if you were on a deserted island, would you rather watch this or Kako no Inazuke, a couple of cuckoos, for the rest of your life?
Uh, kind of want to say this,
Okay.
but yeah,
No, I was just asking. Like, I had no like bias one way or the other, to be
but
honest.
yeah. To go back with the premise, this series sucks. It's like, how is this marriage practical thing supposed to be part of a school's curriculum. Does this have to do with Japan's declining birth rate? Is that what this whole allegory is? They're trying to force
Well, I don't
people
think I
to.
don't think I don't think it's
They're trying to force teenagers to be in a relationship, so to solve Japan's declining birth rates, because no one's getting married and have kids.
subliminal messaging.
Probably. And
Although it's not very subliminal if it's like upfront. It's
also,
like yeah, it's happening.
also like come on, these are 17, 18-year-old high school students. You put them in a dorm room together and try and say, "Oh, you guys got to be a couple." Like, are you not expecting something bad to happen between them?
Right.
And be like, "Oh, uh-oh, now you have to take responsibility." It's like the whole premise itself is really dumb.
Is there smut? There is no
Yeah,
smut in this
again,
game.
solving
Not
Right.
really,
declining birth
no.
rate.
Yeah, but yeah. Despite that, I get like the one positive I can say about this series is I like the character interactions. Like I like the interactions between Jiro and Akari. They're pretty
Mhm.
organic. It's like in the beginning, in the first couple of episodes, it's like, haha, we don't get along. Haha, I hate you. She's super tsundere and whatever.
Uh-huh.
But by episode 3, it's like, oh, we're now used to each other. Like, being more relaxed around each other, and now
Oh, so
she
it's more
starts.
organic. The evolution is more
Yeah,
organic.
and
Yes.
now she acts more dairy around him and teases him, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, that's a good that's good character plot development compared to when he's like, oh, I like my childhood friend, and like I tried to confess to her one time, but I didn't, and now we've grown distant, but I still like her, and
Mhm.
like the interaction between Jiro and Shiori
Mhm.
they look forced. It's the whole Toradora thing where I'm gonna keep bringing it up where the
That's fine.
interactions between the main character and the main heroine feel way more organic and natural progression compared to, oh, this is my first love. It's a more ideal versus reality thing.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I like this person, they're my perfect girl, but then it's like, but I'm interacting with this girl and whatnot, and even though we don't get along most of the time, we're more open and honest with each other, and
Right. Right.
we're not hiding secrets. So yeah, I like the development of their relationship more than I do development between him and childhood friends. So it like I said, it's a natural progression that I like
Mhm.
compared to some other recent series which are dog shit. So it's like I'd rather take this compared to that series. You know what series I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And
So I got
compare it again to that other series. At least Jiro, even though he's portrayed as, oh, I'm a loser, I'm a wimp, pretty stereotypical harem protagonist. At least he gets stuff done when he has to.
right. I
Like,
mean, and he's not really is he an actual harem protagonist in this one, or is it just like a love triangle kind of thing going on?
well, the whole thing is, oh, she already has this. I like the main character, and then they liked each other, but they never really expressed their feelings, kind of way. And
Mhm.
then Jiro and Akari, they don't like each other in the beginning, but then they start to grow closer and warm up to each other since they live together and whatnot. So it is kind of a love triangle kind of way.
Mhm.
So Shiori likes Jiro, and then Akari likes the other dude, but she's warming up to Jiro in a way. And then Jiro's like, oh, I like Shiori, but Akari's growing. I'm growing closer to her too. What do I do? Because
Mhm.
the whole point of them trying to get closer together and gain more points was so they could swap partners with
Right.
the other
Exactly.
dudes. So
Exactly.
that's the whole love triangle thing going on. Yeah, Eh, still say like and there's some points where he's like, oh, I'm a man too, and I gotta man up, and he does stuff that does advance the plot on like some other series, on like other certain series where it take one step forward and 3 steps back each time. So yeah, as a main character, he's slightly better than most harem protagonists because he's pretty. He'll take initiative a lot more often than other protagonists of the harem
Right.
genre. So
And
that's why I
this
like
kind
this.
of builds into the whole like you like the um you like the organic sort of interaction in general
Yeah.
of these characters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and by the series I'm talking about is Rental Girlfriend, because fuck that series.
I had a feeling.
Every chapter is I like Mizuha. It's like 10+ pages of I like Mizuharu, but does she like me back? Oh, I'm gonna roll around in my bed and like cry and scream. What if she doesn't like me? And this dude's like, does Akai like me? Nah, I don't know, but I'm still glad to hang around with her. And it's like
Yeah.
that's really up. He's no. I'll just say he's no cuck. Okay.
So
So,
I guess any other words that you wanna anything else that you wanna bring up about the series?
I mean, I like the manga quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Would
anime's
you
a
recommend reading
downgrade.
that over
Yeah,
the?
I would say it.
Okay.
I
And
would
also,
say,
this is a 12 episode, so this is just
yeah,
gonna
of
be promotion. This isn't gonna cover the entire thing,
course
right?
it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Will this get a second season? Probably
Probably not, right?
not.
I think.
This is no quintets or freaking rental girlfriend or
Yeah,
whatnot.
quintessential quintuplets. Kotobun no Hanayome was very. I mean, it was big way before it even became an anime, right? So it's not. It's a little
And I
bit different.
mean, it got what, 3 seasons, right? Was it 3 seasons? Did it
I
end with three
believe so.
seasons?
It also got like a movie or something, right? If I remember correctly. It got
Movie
like a
or no,
bunch
no,
of
not
shit.
a
Like
live action, right?
no, it's not a live action. It's like an actual anime movie, wasn't it? There- I don't think it. No, I don't think it got a. I don't think it got a live action.
Oh,
It
it
was
was a
just like a.
film.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely in a slightly different
I
spot.
will say that I think I'm 40. There's 40 chapters currently that I've read up to, and their relationship has progressed quite smoothly. There's actual relationship progression,
Mhm.
and um, like some on one other certain series, which is what? How many chapters are you? Like 200 now? Nothing's happened basically.
Okay.
Man, I hate that. 260, 260, and nothing's happened. Good,
Surprise! Surprise!
good. But yeah,
we,
40, and
we
there's a lot. So I think this series will end like around the same amount of chapters as everyone else, like 120-ish.
okay.
So this series, standard rom-com, stupid ass premise, but I like the I like the organic
Right, the character
character
writing is a little
development.
bit
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
So check out the anime. Sure, why not? Maybe some people will like the art direction more than I do,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's why I want to do this series because I like the characters in this.
Yeah.
So
What would you rate the anime?
I'll rate it an 8.5 out of 10. I take off
Okay.
an entire point for the visuals, but I
Okay.
do like the organic character growth. Did I talk about that? Oh, I forgot to talk about the VAs. I don't know. I don't know any
Yes.
of these girls. I only know Onishi Saori.
I want to point out that, and I'm going to mention this again in the series I'm covering, but Ogura Yu is doing this like boyish, like tomboyish girl role. I think she's really trying to like branch out from her base tone, her original tone, which she's also kind of growing out of, which is like her super like childish tone, right? That's like her very like signature kind of range register. She's kind of trying to avoid using that, I think, almost. So that's an interesting thing. She's voicing the redhead like tomboyish girl. But yeah. Anyways,
You know,
thank you,
to put that,
Jeff.
I didn't really recognize it was Ogre Yuri, until I looked it up, and I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
exactly. She's
that's her.
really trying to like avoid like using her like bass tone. or like her fundamental sort of like
Yeah, she does the good Ikemen like boy voice in this one as May, and I'm like,
yes,
damn, that's pretty good.
yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah,
Another, yeah, I mean, one of the major gripes. Speaking of her character, it's like May is supposed to be the tan girl in this series.
mhm.
They didn't make her that tan at all. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, her skin color is not all that different compared to everyone else. It's like when she was removing her clothes, it's like, oh, now I see the tan lines.
Mhm.
I mean, even in the manga, it's blatantly obvious she's a brown chick, and I'm like, damn, how dare you take that away from me? Because again, like the art style, the
Yeah.
the
This
anime
is the
art
whole like
style,
Nessa Pokemon Nessa thing all over again.
and it's like Shiori's a brown-haired chick. I didn't know that. Like in the manga, she's black-haired. I'm like, really? You gonna do that to me?
Mhm.
It's weird. But yeah, Ogre Yui, Saki Miyashita Saki. I don't know who this is. Probably new. Probably, yeah, looks new. But yeah, just just read the manga, my dude. It's good.
Just read the manga. Yeah.
People say, oh, it's pretty average. Well, it's way better than the current uh, rom com that's taking the world by storm. So take what you can get. You can
The fact that you
take your
said
small
it's taking
victories,
the
man.
world by storm kind of makes me sad, but yeah, okay.
Just take
Anyway.
small victories where you can, because rental girlfriend is going to be going on for a long time. 260, it's going to be 300, 400 plus. Not this one though. This probably end in like 120. But yeah, check it out.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much. And that was Fuufu Ijou Koibito Miman, or More Than Married Couple But Not Lovers in the localized title. It is again by Studio Mother, who did again I like Arifureta to season 2, a couple of other stuff.
Should have
Yeah,
given this to
so
a better studio.
probably yeah. But yeah, please I guess at least check out the manga if you like this sort of development. Moving on here, I guess I'm going next, and I'm going to cover uh, another one that was sort of not like brand wise, but it was definitely on the list of things to watch out for because it was so like unique in terms of like the premises and the studio, of course. And it is called Akiba Maid War, also known as Akiba Maid Senso, and this is the PA Works series. This is the only one that PA Works is doing for this season. So this is done by, this is done in conjunction, sorry, with Games, and I believe they are making a multimedia franchise, obviously including the anime, but they're focusing around the game. I'm assuming for Games. Again, PA Works help with a lot. They got help from a lot of subcontractors, especially 10 Gauge, who did a bunch of work with a bunch of other series this season on OP, making animation production for the opening. The opening's not very good. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it straight up. The music, the audio visuals for the opening is not good. PA Works is also, I think, did not get that much money from Side Games on this project. There are a decent amount of like shootout and like action sequences and stuff like that, but there's not enough frames to go around, is what I'll say, and there's the animation is a little bit lacking there. So, the director Masui Soichi, I believe, was the Hitsuki no Chaika, or Chaika the Coffin Carrying Princess under Bones, which was sort of his large project. He did some like Harry and Shinchan stuff. He did Aobuta, Seishin Butayaro wa Banigara Senpai no Yume no Ominai, or like Dreaming the Girl Does Not, or Dreaming Does Not Dream, or like Senpai Does Not Dream of like Bunny Girl, or whatever the fuck it was. Um, they also did of the series composition, and the scriptwriter is actually a complete newbie as far as his like record of like works in the field, which is very surprising. Usually, you don't get that on larger projects, but I guess this is a relatively small project considering for PA Works. Apparently, they probably again did not get that much money from Side Games. Um, the other guys are pretty standard. Again, sort of veterans in the field. Ike Yoshihiro for the music. He did like a lot of older stuff like Cobra the Animation Ergo Proxy and stuff like that. Recently, some Saint Seiya stuff. Character design and chief animation director Nii Manabu. He did stuff like Bakon, Kami-sama ni Nattahi with PA Works. I Became God. Hina Logic. He did like music scene direction for Carol and Tuesday. Art director Honda Kohei. He did a little bit of Kakushigoto, Rumble Garandol, stuff like that. Let's see. Sound director Ida Satoki, veteran, and again Ishikuro Rumi for director of photography, who did stuff for the Piano no Mori movie, the Piano Forest movie, Yusha Yamamas, and I believe something I think assisting with Adachi Shimamura a couple of years back. But yeah, a little bit of I think not the A+ team necessarily, but definitely a lot of good veterans. I think the audiovisuals still leave a little bit to be desired. The script,
Tell us about the story, Spire.
Yeah, the script being headed by Complete and Yubi, I think, does show up here in the series. So it's very hard to describe the story as is, but just straight up. But it's 1999, or it's in the year 1999 in Akiba, and they are kind of setting up, or there's a new person who wants to be a maid at the near who has come to Akihabara, sort of the standard, like everybody kind of knows, otaku, anime maid cafe, kind of that sort of like meme place. And the main character, Wahira Nagomi, has come to work under a certain maid cafe. It is called Ton Tokoton, I believe, which is just kind of like a tada, kind of like it's kind of like an onomatopoeia kind of ish thing, but with a pig pun. And I believe what the hell's the name of it? It's like Oinky Doinky Cafe or something like that. What it said.
Fuck are you
I mean,
talking
it's
about?
I don't
Oinky, oinky,
I don't blame
gookie.
the localization. I don't blame the localization for doing that. It's a very hard name to translate because it's like the name itself in Japanese is like a pun on like just like it's like the closest I can say is like kankala is like, what is it, like the pampakapan kind of thing. It's like tada, like here I am kind of thing. So the translator tried the best. I don't blame them for it.
Do
Although
they
I am
hit the
usually
yoinky splanky or what?
yeah, they have a lot of like weird like piglets, pig, whatever references and stuff like that lines in the thing. But
Oinky, the Yoinky Splanky's old news. You gotta hit the Luddy nowadays.
yeah. So she signs up for that, but then she soon finds out that while there's like a surface layer of like what she's doing in her cafe, the Tontokuton cafe, is like part of the standard like maid thing, like making the omelet, putting the ketchup on the omelet, going like oishiku nare, moi moi cute, and all that fucking stuff, right? And dancing and doing all the maid cafe shit. The beyond that surface level setup, the actual larger story is pretty much this about how the maid cafes are connected to this like underground network, this dark
You mean the
underground
Yakuza?
Yakuza thing. But in this case, they're called the Creatureland Group, or Kedamon, or is it Kedamono Land or something like that? The Creatureland Group, and this is sort of the again underground Yakuza, as Toast said, and how the maids are connected to that, and how the maid cafes, the rival maid cafes in Akiba, have to duke it out and battle it out. And at first, you might be thinking like, oh, they're duking it out. Like you're gonna have episodes where they're like they're competing by trying to attract more customers by dancing more. Or, like you're gonna have these like slice of life episodes. No, they are literally duking it out. There's like battle scenes every fucking episode. There's like shootouts.
So it's like that one scene from Anchorman.
Yeah, you see, this is exactly what I wanted from this series, and I got it. I wanted
and
actual Maid Wars, and I got actual Maid
this
Wars.
is like you are seeing legit like Ocean's 11 like kind of stuff in every episode, and so
It's
the main
it's legit shitty B movie Japanese, like, oh, high school girl like
yes
Yakuza fight thing, and it's like good.
yes
It's exactly what I wanted.
it's not my cup of tea, but that's sort of definitely what it's doing. What Toast is saying is very accurate. Again, it's like maid themed insofar as again there are maids. There's like omelet stuff. They're always talking about it. They're always talking about like what they're doing in terms of like maid stuff. Like, oh, we have to please the customers, or like this is the real spirit of a maid, or like that's like the talk, the lingo that they use. But the general structure of the or idea of the story is it's an episodic thing where you have the characters in the maid cafe and they go out to the other maid cafes, and every time they go out to a maid cafe they always end up in some sort of like ridiculous like situation where they're like about to
Always a
get fucked.
shootout.
Yeah, it's always a shootout, or like oh they're always getting threatened, or like they're getting the enemy maid cafe has like rigged it so that they're all trapped in something or whatever it is, and they have to escape and get out. And that's sort of it's very episodic in that sense. Like there's a little bit of character development in between, and like characters are added from like some of the other maid cafes, and there's some sort of slight development, but it's mostly episodic. And I'm gonna say again, this is not my cup of tea, and I think there's a lot of it where it's like I would say honestly, like it would not be a surprise if this got my sort of most surreal anime of the year award, for sure, because it's very like there are series that have a bunch of like random stuff like this where I kind of know where it's going, but this is kind of just like this is just happening, like things are just happening, and it's this like shootout or this like maid reference or whatever. This is just happening. This is a series, and it's a little bit more confusing for me because I think there's an honest lack of character development, whilst they're still kind of pushing this like inter-episode drama that relies on these characters. So each of these sorts of the main cast, right? Like the Gato, the main character, the sort of cool and collected but like sort of older maid or whatever it is, they all have these sorts of roles, right? And they all have these sorts of character archetypes, and obviously they have their sort of backgrounds, right? But the story doesn't really go fully into developing their characters. They kind of are what they are. Like the Gato, the peaceful or the lax Gato is more or less the lax Gato. The main character is more or less just the main sort of like optimistic, kind character. The older maid is just the older maid who just wants to do the right thing, is always fighting for justice, kind of thing. And they don't really develop, but then the drama sort of develops in the later episodes, especially in episodes 6, 7, and 8. And 8 is the latest episode up for now. Uh, to the point where the drama is sort of dragging the character development along forcibly, and it's not that the character development is evolving around the events that are happening in the series and kind of receiving the drama that's happening properly. A lot of the the quote unquote the quasi character development that's happening in the series is a sort of reaffirmation of of the shticks that we already know about the characters. So, for instance, in one of I forget if it was like episode 3 or episode 4 when they're doing when the older maid is kind of put into this like boxing tournament or this like wrestling tournament, excuse me, I think. Um and they're going through it, and all throughout the series, there's these sorts of like parts where the maid and sort of the people who are interacting with that serious maid are thinking like, oh, what does it mean to really be a true maid? Or like, what does it mean to really follow the spirit of a maid? It's like, I'm going to be the true maid inside. I'm going to always fight for justice, stuff like that. But despite having those quasi profound statements, it doesn't really further develop that serious maid. Her name is Ronco, but it's not that important. That sort of serious maid's personality and character development. It kind of just again reaffirms kind of pounds into your head that yes, she is the serious maid. She will fight for justice. She won't take any shit. And that's sort of not it doesn't fit well later when again the drama becomes a little bit more serious and the story kind of needs to evolve. And so because the drama is evolving at a rate that's faster than how the character development is evolving, it kind of does again turn into what Toast is saying, where it turns into this sort of like B-rate Saturday matinee movie, Sunday matinee movie, where it's like, oh, why did you, like, why did you spare main character? Why did you spare the enemy? Oh, it's because we need to be. That's not the spirit of the maid, like these very like cheesy kind of developments. And again, that's not really, I think, in this setting and the way it's kind of set up, it's not really my cup of tea. It definitely could be for some others. It's definitely not mine. I also think that the shootouts, they're kind of cheesy, but they're also kind of like they start becoming tacky in some sense because the way that the shootouts are and the gun violence, there's a lot of fucking gun violence and there's a lot of wanton shootouts and just like you'll see people being shot in the head, in the chest, like every episode, just people dying left, right, and center. And the point of that wanton gun violence is twofold in the series. One is obviously to set up a serious tone when important people in the cast actually die, right? That sets up a serious tone. And the second is to create an almost sort of like comedic bent, right? It's like almost like Pulp Fiction kind of moment, right? Where it's like boom, just like suddenly like it's just like it escalates from like 0 to 60, and uh, that's fine in terms of in a vacuum where that like tool is like represented, but I think the frequency of which those tools are used is a little bit too high, especially in terms of using it as a comedic tool. And it goes from being comedic to being a little bit tacky. Because it's just like, oh, the way we make things all suddenly like not like super dramatic, but like super high tension and suddenly like whack, like super surreal, and use that surreal comedy is by pulling out the gun. And I'm not really a huge fan of that. So I think maybe if they had lessened the frequency of the gun violence scenes, I understand the need to have that sort of episodic shootout because it's that sort of like again cheesy Sunday matinee B rate movie. But I think if they just controlled the frequency of when those guns appeared all the time in the episodes, I think it would have been a really uh, good change, even if small. That would really change the comedic bent and the tone of the series for the better. I do think that there, despite me kind of, dissing the series left, right, and center, I do think that there are some good points to it. Again, I think episode 5, for instance, when um, it went over sort of the serious mate's birthday, right, and how it kind of like that sort of episode and how it kind of developed. It was relatively predictable, but it was still an interestingly decent episode because I think that was one of the few times where the scriptwriter and the director and everybody kind of really tried to do some real more unique character development and not just I'm a serious maid. Like there was actually some like organic character interactions going on, and I did like it. Although again, it was a little bit predictable. But yeah, that was pretty much all I had to say about the story. I was a little bit, again, not my cup of tea. I think there are a little bit, even for like a sort of Saturday matinee, Sunday matinee style cheesy series, I think there were some rough spots that could have been fixed out and just like some very minor changes that could have made things a lot better. A couple of notes on the what is it? The voice actresses, because I'm again a seiyuu otaku. I'm a voice actor otaku, and
Oh yeah,
the
name who's your favorite Seiyu? Name at least 5.
Tadakoro Asa, Ueda Reina. Right now, I have a crush on Ueda Reina pretty hard. Ueda Reina, Uchita Maya, Uchiyama Koki, I guess Umeru Yuichiro. I guess that's 5, right? Um, but
Name 5
anyways,
male voice actors that you like.
5 male voice actors that I like. Uh, Hiroshi Kamiya, Ono Daisuke, Tomokazu Sugita, Nakamura Yuichi, and Matsuoko Yoshitsugu, right? But that's a very like cop out list because it's like,
Gay.
yeah, that's a very
This
cop
guy
out list.
likes men.
Men,
Lol.
yeah. We're going back into Gundam all over again. This is how we're gonna start with the Gundam discussion. But anyways, going back to the anime, there's a
So
there's
you're so Spy. You're saying
yes.
you hate Zombieland Saga.
That is not what I'm
If
saying.
you
And I
hate,
think
if you like Zombieland Saga, then how come you don't like the slapstick humor of this series, huh?
it's not really the slapstick humor is like because even in Zombieland Saga, like where they do have like the whole like the fact that they're zombies and stuff like
Zombieland
that, right?
Saga's
And like,
premise and the oh shit, and the way
I
it handles its content, I feel like from what Spires described is like it fits better. Like it just like the way it balances
yeah.
between its severities is like more reasonable.
Yeah, it's like there's like some like the morbid humor and as insofar as it relates to zombies, like the humor part of the zombies, right, is made in a very sort of um like Japanese anime, like, oh, I'm like see my arm dangling kind of thing going on. Whereas this one with the gun violence, it is pretty much just like, that meme of like, so anyways, I started blasting, right? It's like that taken to the extreme. And again, not my cup of tea. And I do think that again, it would have been much better if it was just like controlled a little bit. I'm not saying like, oh, the gun violence shouldn't be there because like that's sort of a core part of this series as far as I see it. But I think it could have been the frequency could have been controlled a little bit better. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so there's a Russian person in this, like a Russian like foreigner maid or whatever that's called a Zoya that's in this series, and it's actually voiced by a Russian person who is living in Japan. I think is a Japanese citizen now, who is Genya. And she actually she's been doing voice acting roles for like a long time. But she's been actually, if you look at her like my anime list, for example, like all of her roles have been just like blonde, like Russian, like look at these roles, like near dark toast. It's like all of these like blonde Russian foreigner roles. It's like, hey, you're blonde Russian foreigner. Like, hey, why don't you just do these for
Yeah.
like the rest of your life? And she does these like characters. She voices them well. She's a good voice actress. But I just found it funny how like the Japanese directors are like, hey, I have an idea. I'm sure nobody's ever done this before for you, but
Neon
Yeah.
Koi, Russian cat.
yeah, exactly. But so that's a little bit weird. But
I mean, why would you not cast the Russian chick to speak Russian?
yeah, that's true. But there's also one of the super deep voice. Actually, the serious maid Ranko. Again, the sort of the the shortcut hair that you see in the poster art here in the center, the black haired maid girl, and in the center for the poster art. If you guys are watching the stream right now, is voiced by Satorina, and she does like a very very like deep voice, and she keeps that voice even when she's like singing like the ending and stuff like that. And she does a very good job at it, and I want to just give her a shout out for that. And Ogura Yu actually does also one of the maids in this series, like just for like one of the episodes or so, one of the supporting cast members, and she does like a much more mature flirty voice, which she successfully does, but she loses like a lot of her unique childish tone. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, well, Ogura, you can do this, and it's very nice that she can do this, and she obviously shows, not that she needed my approval or whatever, but it obviously shows that she is a proficient voice actress, and she can fit different character roles properly, and she's branching out into, again, as To said, this like sort of ikemen role in Fuufu Ijou Fukoi, as well as this one Akiba Maid. Maid Senso. And she can do these different roles, but it's a real pity that as she's growing up and as she's trying to branch away into different roles, that she's kind of losing roles that use her very like unique, like childish like tone, right? And that was really the big hitter of Okura Yue, right? I don't think there's really anybody on the market, even like amongst like the voice actresses that do that sort of like childish baby tone, that could really mimic that like almost like fairy like register. And it's a little bit of a pity that she's trying to branch away from it now, but it is what it is, right? She can't stay in there forever, especially as she grows older. So, anyways. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. Again,
Plus
I
Fire,
think
who's your
Yep.
favorite maid?
My favorite maid? That's a good question.
You can't say Zoya.
Yeah, I can't say so. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I don't mind. The thing is, it's like I kind of, as I mentioned, like a lot of the characters don't really have proper deep like character development. They have their starting shticks, and then the drama kind of leads them on the way. So I'm not like a huge like fan of any of the
What?
characters.
You don't like Sheepone? I thought that would be your favorite. Like the
No,
Gyaru
you're
one.
because it's the guy. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not. I actually like Yumechi, the sort of the girl who kind of like has like two faces, right? Like she does the whole cute thing, but then she's
Minami
like,
Tanaka. You like Minami Tanaka, huh? I see how it is.
I don't know whether I would say like it's because I like the voice actress, but I just like the character more than anything else. So probably Yumechi, but then
Mine's Zoya for super obvious reasons.
but I also like Ronko quite a bit too. The serious maid. But yeah.
Everyone likes Ronko.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
anyone says they don't like Ronko, they're a damn liar.
The true spirit of the maid, man. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say.
Did you
Yeah.
get it though? Meido?
Yeah, yeah. So, oh yeah, I should explain real quick. But in Japanese, the way the word meido is written out in kanji, and not in the sort of Japanese katakana representing the English word, but meido is a play on words where the part of the kanji is underworld, mei, the mei part, and or I guess Meido, I guess the entire word is sort of called the underworld. It's the word for just like where Hades would be, right? The realm of the dead. And it kind of is supposed to represent sort of the underground, like the dark underside or whatever that they're all dealing in the series. So yeah. Other than
What's your
that,
rating?
I don't my rating for this. Uh I just think it's a little bit too rough around the edges, and I would again, I just wish it had a little bit more character development so it wouldn't like
I
lag behind the drama. I
so
think I would give it a 5.5. 5.5 probably. I think there's enough thought going into it. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's not a series where it's like, oh, it's just like there are just things going on. It's like lazy. Like they're kind of clearly putting effort into it, but it's a little bit too rough. It's a little bit rough around the edges for me to just be like, oh, it's just a cheesy series, but they're doing it very well. It's a cheesy series that's also a little bit rough around the edges, and PA Works could have done a little bit better of a job. I think they should have hired a better scriptwriter. I think it's a little bit unfortunate. I don't want to hate on the newbie, but I think they should. I think they could have hired a better scriptwriter. And I think they could have. I think Side Games could have given them a little bit more money on the visual aspect, especially since again there's a lot of animation, there's a lot of like action and like shootout sequences. They could have given them a little bit more money, but I guess it is a new multimedia project, so
I'll
yeah.
give this my rating is an 8 out of 10. I like this series because I like remember the first thing I said about this series is like, is there going to be an actual war? If
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'm in. And guess
There is
what?
definitely an actual
There is an
war.
actual war, so I'm all in.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say about Akiba Maid Senso, also known as Akiba Maid War. Again, this is the only series being done by PA Works this season in conjunction with Cygames. If you like this sort of like just stuff happening on the screen, just check it out. Just like cheesy shootouts, drama, the whole kit and caboodle. So yeah, please do check it out. Last but not least, here we come across. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. But Nier, what do you have for us? Certainly, I think you're covering a slightly obscure series, right? I think.
Yeah. So I watched Urusei Yatsura.
Yes, the 2022 remake.
Yeah, the 2022. I guess I don't know. It's
Is
not
it a
really.
reboot or just a
A reboot.
remaster?
It's basically just a remaster.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is David production.
With Tom in the Block as well.
Yeah, of
And
course.
obviously they have like 50 billion subcontractors on their ass
Of
because
course.
it's Urusei Yatsura and it's no Tom in the Block.
Yeah.
They've got a decent amount of help, mainly from Graphinica and Asahi Production, who are just like kind of like general like assistant studios. If you guys don't know by now, they don't do like a lot of like mainline work. And did you see the ANN list of like producers? There are like 45 executive producers, and then there are like 500 like just regular producers, and then there are like yeah.
I mean, Urusei Yatsura is it's a big name, but yeah.
Yeah.
David production.
Brought in mainly the JoJo team, right?
Yeah,
a lot of the JoJo team, the
a lot of
Neptunia team as well.
a lot of JoJo's directors. The main director was behind JoJo Part 5, and then they've got the other I guess co-directors, visual directors. One of them was
Again,
from Part 4.
mostly related from like Neptunia, JoJo, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously they're all veterans as well.
Of course.
And then you like so the character design, art director, and the sound director. If you, they're very heavy hitters.
Yeah, they're just like series veterans, and I mean, obviously, I guess when you're pulling a name like Urusei Yatsura around, you look for just old heads, veterans, just people that have been in the industry for
people
a
that
very long
can't mess
time.
this up.
Yeah, people that sort of I guess like have just the knowledge of like how like characters like that were drawn X amount of years ago. Because for those who don't know, Urusei Yatsura is a very old show. The original came out in what, like fucking 78 is the manga.
It's considered to be like one of the sort of
basically.
If there was an anime history textbook, it would be one of the series that would be covered.
Yeah, a lot of people consider it sort of like the grandfather to just modern slice of life rom-com series, just the general format. And the basic synopsis is one day aliens invade Earth, and they basically go, we're gonna invite you to a contest, and if you lose, we're gonna wipe you out. But if you win, we'll leave. And so the person that's chosen to do this contest is chosen by complete random lottery. And it just so happens to be our main protagonist, Ataru Moroboshi, who's a very perverted, lecherous young man. And he ends up winning, and through a series of misunderstandings, he ends up accidentally proposing to the alien princess Lum. And then you have very episodic rom-com hijinks from there. This is a Rumiko Takahashi series.
Who's Rumiko Takahashi?
Yeah. One of the just general like legends of manga.
Yes.
Just done Inuyasha, Urusei Yatsura, Ranma, a lot of stuff.
My Sony Koku. That's
Yeah.
probably that's one of my top 3 rom-coms of all time.
Urusei Yatsura is my personal favorite Rumiko Takahashi series. It's one of my
Good
favorite
choice.
series of all time. And
Nier
so
is about to get hate mail from 1,000 women who lived through the 2010s and watched
yeah.
Inuyasha.
Listen, man, I love Inuyasha, man. It's
If you love Inuyasha, who's your favorite character?
this is Shomaru.
I
But yeah.
I was
Damn.
like zero surprised. I was just saying, like I was like trying to guess for a second, and then you said Sesshomaru. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
never
no,
mind.
no.
My
Yeah,
favorite character is Bankotsu
yeah,
because he had the cool sword.
he does have a cool sword. But yeah, I like Suisei a lot.
But yeah, I like Inuyasha. So you want to
Yeah.
fight?
He's cool. But yeah, so I've watched the original Urusei Yatsura a lot. Like I
Yes.
sometimes I just randomly boot up. I just pick an episode at random and I watch it. And you know, it's always entertaining. So this is a sort of the way I guess the producers described it is a best of sort of recollection of the series. And this is they said it's going to be a multiple core run totaling into 46 episodes.
Oh, okay.
And so far there are 7 out. I've watched all of them, and my biggest gripe, and it's probably one of the only like real complaints I'm going to have for the series, is the episodes they decided to air, and like the order in which they decided to air them. So obviously the first episode is just like the general introduction of Ataru, Lum, Shinobu, the sort of initial like quote unquote love triangle that sort of dissolves pretty quickly. But then the episodes they decide to show after, like immediately after, are like every episode, like after the first episode, is an episode that introduces a new character. And the first one they introduced, I believe, is Mendo. And the issue I have with that is with Mendo's introduction is a love triangle, right? Mendo, you know, when he's immediately introduced, like he's hitting on Shinobu, which is the girl that Ataru, whenever it's convenient to him, decides to say, like, you know, she's my girl, right?
Right, exactly.
And then Lum butts in and says, "Well, you're married to me," and then hijinks ensue, right?
Yeah.
But then there's a very short stint where Mendo sort of tries to pursue Lum, right? Because she's very pretty. And Lum is obviously not having it if she's in love with Ataru. And so that runs for a while. And then the episode immediately after they introduce Mendo is the episode where they introduce Kurama, which is another love triangle. And they sort of do this episode after episode, where in the original, these character introductions were pretty spaced apart. Where you had a lot of episodes with just like, normal, wacky, like slice of life, like space invader hijinks, and you really didn't
And in
have.
general, these older series are like much simpler in like their setups. There are like pretty much like not really like how it's like a lot of like slice of life that's more episodic like this, like rom-com that's like sometimes tend to have like mini episodes within like the one episode and stuff like that. There's definitely wasn't as much of that back then, and it was much slower, right? Just like in general. Yeah.
And so the order in which they've decided to air these is a bit it's a bit unfortunate because it's very front loaded with like love triangle setups, like general love triangle comedy, which isn't really like a majority of Urusei Yatsura. Like obviously it's there,
Yeah.
but it's not like like this, it's really condensed here, which I think it's a pretty big mistake. I get why they wanted to sort of introduce a lot of characters early on, just sort of keep it fresh. But I feel like they really could have, I don't know, spaced it out, at least 1 or 2 episodes in between.
Yeah.
Other than that, another minor complaint I have is something that Spire said earlier. A lot of these older shows, they're very simple, right? Like they're really quite simple.
Yes.
And so a lot of times when you have a very simple premise like Urusei Yatsura, and you're sort of trying to fill it into like a 20-minute episode, um, it's it's a bit slower paced, right?
Yes.
A lot of that back then was creative decisions, padding time. Animation was a bit harder to do back then,
Yeah.
so you didn't necessarily have characters constantly talking and constantly moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes
Exactly.
sometimes you just had characters sort of like sitting there. And it is a different pace, not only in terms of, the show's pace, but comedic pacing as well, right? And this show is very fast paced. If you're used to the original, it's very fast. There's just constant jokes. It's very different. And obviously that's, part of, I guess, sort of bringing the series into the modern era. And for the most part, a lot of the jokes still work. But there are some that are kind of like, they're too quick, because a lot of times, you kind of want a joke to linger for a bit, or you want a punchline to sort of linger for a bit. And sometimes they don't really let the jokes do that in this,
They're
which is a
very
bit unfortunate.
they're very what is the word, is the phrase tongue in cheek, or like you blink you miss it kind of thing?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I guess, Simpsons-esque in a way, where you don't have to beat down the joke in order to explain it. It's like if you know, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Very
Like
subtle.
it's kind of just like, here's the joke. If you get it, you get it. But like they're not going to
It's
explain
not
the
like
punchline
Sims.
to you.
It's not like Family Guy when it's not a Family Guy joke. It's a Simpsons joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the Simpsons was shit.
The
Yeah.
thing is, it's like going along with what Nier is kind of describing with regards to sort of the modern changes as well as the modern sort of, I guess, how I wouldn't say growth pains. It's almost like the inverse, where it's like it's kind of like old pains, right? It's kind of having trouble, so like kind of shaking off. It's like old style in a
Yeah.
sense, right? Or like getting used to a modern perspective, modern light on an old series, but the character designs and art style is pretty much like very close to the original series as far as it can be, right? But the coloring and the palette and sort of the animation speed and the pacing, right, are all very like it's so modern. Like you can tell the
Yeah.
difference,
It's
right?
very, very different.
And it's even like with the choice of say Hiroshi Kamiya, right, as the main character, right? I think it's a very good choice to have him as the main character for the modern animation style and for modern audiences. But it definitely gives like the way like Hiroshi Kamiya like says his lines, the script right, how the scriptwriter like times his stuff, and he's like constantly like going 50 miles per hour like. Skomi, right? Like snapbacks, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's stupid, blah, 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 blah. And like even that's like so much faster than anything like that was even relevant in around the time where Urusei Yatsura was a thing,
Yeah.
right? And so like you're getting these like 50 60 miles 70 miles per hour like skomis, right, in the script, but then you're also where like wait a minute, this is just like this is supposed to be like an old like relaxing sort of like slower series, right? So it's like a very sort of like dissonant kind of thing that you're getting at times.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Again, I do think it mostly works. It's just mostly the fact that like I am such a big fan of the original and I'm very used to the pace of the original, and sort of the way those characters talked and interact and how there's like, there's little gaps between, replies and stuff like that. And obviously, that's not really here or there because it's just a much faster, different pace. So it just feels a bit odd. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, those are just kind of like my minor gripes with sort of, I guess, bringing such an old series to the modern age. The only other big change to this, and it is a pretty big change, is so the art you see on screen right now has that funny little character you see, the little baby there.
Uh-huh.
So in the original series, uh, with Lum comes a character named Tan, and he's a little baby, and he's very antagonistic. He's constantly giving Ataru shit. He's basically constantly cock blocking him, and creating just general annoyances for Ataru. He's not in the show. He's gone. He's just straight up gone.
But is Ten's mother in the show?
Apparently not.
Damn.
She's
What a
not
waste.
credited as far as I could tell. Maybe they'll bring her up later, because again, this is a 46 episode series. They've announced some credits like after the release for some other minor characters. But yeah, 10 is on the poster, but he's not in the show. At
Yeah.
least not yet. He might have an episode where he shows up or something, but in terms of a lot of the core episodes that would normally have 10 in them as a pretty big part, he's gone. And honestly, thank fucking God. Because a lot of people don't like 10. He's very annoying. He had a very annoying voice in the original anime. He was kind of just, like I said, a very antagonistic force. Just a real, like, a little shit stain. But yeah, he's gone.
Like all the bad parts of like Navi and like
Yeah, basically. But yeah, just other than that, it's pretty much just the same show, but it's more colorful. It's got different voice actors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Different
I also
pacing.
like with Sakasumine, it's very interesting because like you know how she usually has her basic tone, her like in person tone is like that sort of piercing head tone, right? Like higher head tone.
Yeah.
But she definitely does this like very deeper from the chest, like obviously like oh, I want to be an older like kind of thing, right? Voice for Lum, and I do think it works well. But it's definitely a
Yeah.
much different
So
voice. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Urusei Yatsura, like, I feel like she did like some crazy like coaching just for this role to
Yeah.
like because she sounds like it to me, like there are some deliveries, like some line deliveries she has where she sounds like the original voice actor, like
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
from the original series. Like
It's it's like you know how some people when they're acting out like roles like Winston Churchill or like Margaret Thatcher or whatever, they do that sort
yeah,
of like
they'll just like
yeah.
go over footage over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
like that, I
I
think.
feel like it was like Kasune just watched a shitload of Urusei Yatsura
Yeah.
just to like do this voice. It's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. As for the other voice actors, I mean, you have Mikisaru Shudo is there. Again, you have Hiroshi Kamiya as Ataru. I think he's very good.
Yeah.
You have Miyano
Like, it brings a very
Mamoru.
like modern bent to I
Yeah,
think to
Miyano
like
Mamoru as Mendo. I mean, Miyano Mamoru is just very good in comedic roles. He's very good as Mendo as well.
yeah.
You have Kana Hanazawa as Ran. Unfortunately, she hasn't shown up yet, I'm pretty sure. I am very interested to see how she does that role. You have Ishida Maya as Shinobu, who's very, very good, very solid. You have Wataru Takaki as Cherry, and he actually does a really, really good job at really just sort of re-encapsulating that character. Yeah, a lot of really, really good talent. And you
Yeah,
have
I mean this is
Shizuka Ishigami
honestly
as Ben 10.
Wait,
Yeah.
is he called Cheer? I thought it was Sakarambo.
Yeah, he's
Which way?
Sakarambo, but
Okay.
everyone just calls him Cherry.
Yeah. But yeah, if you look at the list of like voice acting casts in itself, this is arguably like probably the single biggest gathering of like S plus S A tier voice
Yeah.
actors since like forever. Even if you count stuff like big stuff like, Dragon Ball or like Naruto or stuff like that, arguably this is like the biggest one that we've had in like maybe like over like in close to a decade, I think.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of really, really, really big
Here, who would
names.
win in a fight? Who would win in a fight? Sakarambo or Haposai?
Probably Happosai.
Okay. You're on that ladder. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
If you did know by Haposai's from Rama 1/2, it's the other old man.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, I mean, um, it's Urusei Yatsura. I don't really know if there's too much
Hold on.
else to say.
Hold
Wait,
on, hold on.
I think I think overall you think that it pays pretty good homage to the original. It's just that they're trying to speed run it a
yeah,
little bit, and it's showing.
Near,
in
who's
places.
your favorite character?
in Urusei Yatsura,
Yeah.
Lum.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
My favorite, Sakura.
I am a Lum fan.
Because
yeah.
Sakura's voiced by Miyuki Sawashiro.
Yeah, it's a very, very good pick for her. But one, so in terms of audio visuals,
Mm.
it's good, right? It's David production. It looks really good.
Yeah.
They did some. So the OP and ED are super, super nice, right?
Yes.
And I'd say this OP for Urusei Yatsura is probably my favorite OP of the season. Just because like, so there's a very like small sequence in the OP where they show like a lot of like the really old art, sort of recolored, and then there's another sequence where they do like these like black and white panels of Lum, and they sort of come to life. It's just a lot of, it's very, very, it's very love lettery, like to the original.
So you're basically saying it's the Sono Chino Sadame of
Yeah,
Lum.
basically, yeah.
Good.
It's really, really good. It's really cute.
I'll link it in the chat here, but yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. And another very like small, cool detail in this show is that so Lum is supposed to have like prismatic hair,
Yeah.
right?
Good point.
And obviously in the original series, they never really animate Lum's hair change in color.
Because that would be way
Largely
too hard to do.
Yeah, that would be extremely fucking hard to do. But in this show, they do, and it's a very small touch. But it's really it's nice to see.
Yes.
But yeah, this show is very good. In terms of recommending it or not, I mean, personally, as a big fan of the original, I would probably say watch the original because it's really good.
I think what you would probably say is use this series to get a taste of what
Yeah.
you're getting into, and then go into the original. When you
Just
can.
be aware, like I said, like the way they've sort of formatted this is it's very front loaded with like new character introductions, and as a consequence of that, there's a lot of like love triangle scenarios,
Right.
where the original didn't have as many like in the beginning.
Yes.
They're sort of interspersed between. It's just an unfortunate consequence of the order they decided to show these episodes in. But yeah, I love Urusei Yatsura. I highly recommend really just anybody watching it in general. Again, just because it's one of the grandfathers of slice of life, like as we know it currently. It's just like a real like historical landmark for anime and manga overall. And I do think it's very faithfully readapted here. It's good. I do recommend it.
It's a good legacy collection version of Lum.
Yeah.
And Near, you forgot to mention the cool Easter egg about the voice actors.
What about him?
Ataru's original voice actor from the old anime is now Ataru's father in this one.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
didn't even
and
notice that.
Lum is now Lum's mother in this one.
That is cool.
All right. Well,
But
again,
but
thank you.
but Nier. Speaking of the old anime, do you prefer sub or dub?
Sub.
You sure?
Yes, the British dub is very funny, but
They
like,
only got like 4 episodes, right? Or is it?
yeah, it didn't get many, but they're like, I mean, it's comedy gold, but it's like,
Anyways,
But yeah, what's your
thank you.
rating, Nier?
I'd give it an 8. It's a solid 8.
All right.
Damn, your
Anyways,
score is Akiba Maid Wars, huh?
all right. Well, I think we need to move on. But again, thank you, Nier, for covering again, arguably the biggest name of the
Man,
season. I don't think it's. I mean,
Chainsaw Man.
all right, Chainsaw Man. That's
Rumiko,
true.
like
It's like
Rumiko,
it's very hard this season, right? It's like there's so many big names, and they're
Yeah.
like all duking each other in the face. Um,
if
probably. I mean,
if
okay. Let's just say top two. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Top
if
two.
Lum gets an adaptation, what? Where's my Rumiko World adaptation of the other series?
Rubicoverse, yeah.
No, isn't it called Rumiko World? Like, there's Carnival Phantasm, and then there's there was that whole
Yeah.
I feel like it is, yeah.
Rumiko World OVA. 'Cause if they're doing Lum,
They should do another one of those, honestly.
yeah, give me Ranma 1/2 or Mai Son Ikoku. Just I want some legacy versions of old Rumiko Takahashi series too. Because they already finished up Inuyasha. They already finished up Inuyasha, and
Right.
let's just say, what is it? Kyokai no Rene is not that good.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll
Just go
slowly
back
go
to the
over it.
old classics.
I mean, Japan is already right now in a phase of doing all like pulling out all the old stuff
Yeah.
and doing remakes of them anyways, right?
They'll
So,
do it eventually.
yeah, it's not it's a matter of time for sure. Like this is a guarantee.
Good.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much, Nier, for helping to cover Urusei Yatsura. Obviously, it's not an easy series to cover by any means. I think that it's safe to say, but it's definitely a very important series that I think really any reviewer covering this season should, by all rights, cover. So thank you
Near.
again.
Would you recommend Lum to the children like you would recommend Witch of Mercury to to small children?
Um,
Get it?
no.
Um,
I have seen some weird. I mean, I sort of expected it when this got announced. I'll just go over this quickly. There has been some discussion online as to whether the whole perverted main character archetype is sort of like dead and tired kind of thing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people saying like, like I thought we were done with this kind of stuff.
But it's not. It's
And
very different in the case of.
obviously it's
Urusei
different.
Yatsura.
It is different in the case of Urusei Yatsura because like Urusei Yatsura is like one of the first.
Yeah.
But also like, you know, if you really, really don't like that type of main character, you're probably gonna hate Urusei Yatsura. I hate to break it to you, man. This is not for you.
And you're probably gonna. I'm not gonna lie. Like, obviously we're talking about Urusei Yatsura, but in terms of like Lucky Skebe, like right, Lucky
Lucky
Pervert,
Pervert.
yeah, Lucky
Yeah.
Pervert or whatever it is. You're not gonna see that going away for probably a few more decades at least. So
I don't know if you're ever gonna see that going away. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
it's just an easy thing to kind of generally use, and it can come in many forms. So
and
anyway,
Isekai will never go away ever now.
yeah,
either.
sure. Yeah. So, anyways, again, thank you, Nier, for helping cover Urusei Yatsura. Again, this is a 2022 remake by David Production, also known as the JoJo Studio. Duh. And it's on the Autonomous Block. Check it out if you haven't yet. And with that said, we are finally on to the news. Sorry, everybody, for taking so long, but we had some very heavy hitters, very heavy hitters in this review. So we can't help it, right? I do like to talk about good anime, so it is what it is. So we'll go over stuff real quick. A lot of this news right now is just company and general industry related news. First, the Association of Japanese Animations, or AJA, released a preview of its Anime Industry Report 2022 findings for the year, for the previous year, obviously, on Tuesday. The report found that the wider anime industry, including merchandise, music, etc., grew by 13.3% in 2021 compared to 2020, with a total market value of 2.74 trillion yen, which is around 20 billion US dollars. The number is the highest since AJA began recording the industry's total market value in 2002, exceeding the previous record high of 2.5 trillion yen in 2019 by 9.1%. So again, sort of after the COVID dip, we find ourselves again in the growth, obviously. Until I want to say 2012, as you can kind of see in the charts, I'll link the news article in the chat here. But as you can see, kind of in the charts, up until like 2012, there was pretty much like very flat growth. There was almost like, it was pretty much like flat to like almost no growth. And then starting from like 2013, you can see like this like, and that's likely when that's likely the effect of globalization. That's probably around when really just like these initial sort of like the sort of fan dubbing scene, the rise of like the start of the spread of visual novels, the rise of light novels, all of that sort of the perfect storm started like hitting the anime market as well, and its relevant effects, and that's sort of what's been happening here. So definitely again very interesting. The overseas market also started around that time, right? It started really boosting around 2013, 2014, right? You can literally see like the actual correlation. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much globalization, and like obviously subsequently later on, I think digitalization also helped create a synergistic effect there. So additionally, streaming reached its highest earnings ever in the industry, which it had a 66% increase from 2020. Merchandise also rose by 14% to around 5 billion or 4.8 billion US dollars. So pretty good. Again, our only hope, we all love it when the anime industry grows, becomes more mainstream. We can tell our parents about it, whatever it is. We can come out of the basement. But our hope, or everybody on this podcast hope, has been for the longest time that this money actually properly goes to, the animators and the people who are making only, $10,000 a year instead of, all of it going to Sony Pictures and Warner Bros. Coffers, right? That's always been the problem. But yeah, next on the list here. So Katakawa's MK Bunko J light novel label announced on Monday that it was recalling all copies of Sakura So's new light novel Koi to Noroi to Sekai o Horobosu Kaiju no Hanashi, the story of the monster that destroys love, curses, and the world. Sakura So is known for Henneko, I believe, Hentai Neko to Warawanai, Hentai Oji to Warawanai Neko, or the Hentai Prince of the Stony Cat, also nicknamed Henneko, right? So the reason why his new light novel got recalled was that there were 2 lines of text that were supposedly copied from Kono Yutaka's Inakunare Gunjo, or Go Away Ultramarine novel. So he himself brought the matter to the publisher's attention. The author, Sakura himself, brought the matter to the publisher's attention when, while searching for impressions of his recently released novel, he spotted a comment on Twitter on October 27th talking about the similarity of the paragraphs. So he published an explanation on Twitter saying that he had read the novel by Kono Yutaka 6 years ago, and he was attracted to specific lines about the sunset, and he kept it as a reference later. But and later on, he kind of just like accidentally included it within the novel, and he kind of forgot about it or something like that. It's
So
sort of how did you,
this is 2 lines of text.
yeah.
Like what? That doesn't really seem.
I think it's well, again, it's from the author himself, and I think it shows good intention from the author. He's probably being, a little bit more strict on himself, but I think probably he also knows not knows, but I think in his moral philosophy, it's probably better for him to have recalled this and kind of just slammed, the brakes like this than potentially just kind of being like, okay, we'll just let go, and then potential internet outrage, right? Kind of bubbling over for him, right? Regardless of the scale of the incident.
I mean,
And
it's very odd. It's like the author is very clearly saying that he was inspired by this novel, and so him like including like 2 lines of text that like, you know, I feel like
plagiarism is ultimately still pretty serious, regardless of whether it's like
I
50
think that
lines or
probably
two. But
shows more so of like, the inspiration and just like having that
yeah.
in there and probably him thinking like, yeah, I made this and then realizing, oh wait,
Wait. It's
whoops.
it's like how comedians sometimes like steal like
well, I mean,
sketches
it's
from each
like
other like
I
instantly.
mean, the question is
Instantly.
like, would he have done this if like if the lines weren't like word for word? Like if he just had this phrase or these phrases,
Probably not.
I
If he
don't
had
even
made a
know. I don't
variant, he
even know what the
probably
context of these
because
lines
the
are.
initial inspiration or the initial sort of trigger for this was again like reviews or like comments, right? Saying like, oh, this is like the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I was zoned
Yeah,
in, but
but
yeah,
but
I
what
mean,
I'm saying
I
is
would
like
believe.
if people pointed out like these lines are similar like to like a similar, I guess I don't know what the lines are, but like
mhm.
I guess if it's like a phrase or something like, wow, like this is similar to this other novel, like, but it's not the exact wording. Would he have pulled it, or would he have just said, oh well, I had read this recently and I was inspired? Like
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
it's very odd
It's a good
to me.
question. Yeah, it's a good question. Um, Again, I think the timeline of events that was reported in saying that Sagata himself went to the publisher and said we should put we should slam the brakes on this. Again, at the very least, shows an intent to be like on top of things rather than being like, oh, well, it's 2 lines or whatever. And maybe he's being overly strict on himself, depending on how you look at it. But in some senses, maybe it's better to do that, at least in his mind, than potentially let the internet, how the internet can like bubble over and blow people up, right? So um, it is his decision, and he decided to be a little bit more strict on himself than maybe a bunch of other people would. So um, a bit unfortunate, but it's a mistake. It was an honest mistake, but it was still a mistake, and hopefully, it doesn't happen next time. But a little again unfortunate. Next, Furano City's Select Committee for Budget Audits announced on Tuesday that it did not approve the city's settlement of general accounts, as it had deemed the Furano focused episode of the second season, Dropkick on My Devil X, second season of Dropkick on My Devil, or also known as Jashin-chan Dropkick, anime as inappropriate. Thus, it has quashed the payment of its planned 33 million yen, which is around 240,000 US dollars, contribution to the anime's production.
Dude, what
The
the
anime
fuck?
was partly funded through quote unquote hometown tax programs from various cities, such as Furano. Through these programs, taxpayers can donate to city programs in exchange for tax breaks and other incentives. As a result, the anime has episodes that highlight these cities by having these episode stories take place in them. A committee member said that the Furano episode's plot, where the titular Jashin-chan attempts to sell her organs to pay off her debts, is quote unquote socially unacceptable and quote unquote casts Furano in a bad light. Another
Bro,
committee member
fuck
said that
off.
yeah. Another committee member said that in rebuttal that the story is just a random episode's premise and should not be taken out of context for the sake of the argument. Mayor Taketoshi Kita expressed his deep disappointment on the vote, so he's for Justin Chandrake, obviously, and his regret at what he described as an encroachment on the freedom of expression. Um, According to the city council office, it's the first time in 17 years that a general account settlement has not been approved. So again, 7 committee
All right,
members
well,
voted.
back to
Uh, si-
crowdfunding.
yeah, 7 committee members voted to approve the general account, while 7 voted to not approve it, with the committee chair casting the tie-breaking vote. So the committee chair fucked them essentially.
All right, well, that's
Again,
also material for season 4. So,
yeah. I think it's very unfortunate, and it's the Oregon but
It's
like at the
whack,
end of the
dude.
day,
Like,
like
it was
yeah,
literally,
yeah,
this
yeah.
was from season 3. It was literally like, because the whole fucking premise that was happening was Jashin Chen stole all the money from
Yeah.
the crowdfunding for season 3 and gambled it away, and is
The
now
the thing
took out a loan and now is
the thing is
traveling
also
around Japan.
yeah, I mean also the original premise of the entire franchise, the brand as a
Is
whole
Jashin
is
Chen getting fucking like
yeah, blown up.
brutalized?
Yeah, exactly. And like her getting like her tail getting chopped up and stuff like that. So it's like I don't know why I don't know why like they at this last moment they were just like, "Oh, wait a
Old
minute.
people.
Maybe." Yeah, exactly. Old people being like, "Wait a minute. This thing has like demons in it, satanic demons in it. What the fuck?" But yeah, very unfortunate. Again, it's very sad state of things, but hopefully the production studio and the anime can keep on going
I hope they
properly.
sue. I hope they go to court.
Yeah, I think honestly this was it was a very stupid way to go, especially since likely most of that money was probably already all like planned out and stuff like that. But anyways, next piece of news: the Pixiv Art website announced an update to its terms of service on Tuesday, and also warned that some users are violating its brand protection for card networks policy on transactions of prohibited content through the site's booth, Pixiv Fanbox, and Pixiv request services. The prohibited content includes, but is not limited to, quote unquote, sexual exploitation of a minor, incest, bestiality, rape, or any other non consensual sexual behavior, and non consensual mutilation of a person or body part. So, Tuesdays. And then people have to, content creators have to remove the content or set them to private. The new terms of service will take effect on December 15th. So, obviously, Pixiv being kind of swung around by the credit card companies for, for
Well, it's
having
not
this sort of
just so keep in mind, Fanbox, Pixiv's sort of version of
of
Patreon,
RT.
right?
Yeah.
Apparently it uses the exact same API as Patreon. So from what I've heard, it's actually Patreon that is sort of forcing Pixiv's hand here, and not necessarily the credit card company. Because apparently Patreon, because Patreon has very, like, almost word for word this exact same sort of terms of service against like certain forms of content, right? And so apparently people are saying like Patreon is the one sort of making them adopt this exact same thing, because they're essentially using like Patreon's platform to have their own Patreon. It's very strange. But yeah,
I think it's a little bit unfortunate because there's I think right now there's going to be a lot of scrambling for the exits, and I think obviously a lot of the pretty much the general swath of the prohibited content is, or the explicitly restricted content is like fine, right? To restrict for the most part, but um the issue is the whole like includes but is not limited to, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it becomes very arbitrary because at that point it's clear that the credit card networks and like people are kind of just looking out to slam on anything that is deemed enough inappropriate, right? So pretty much even anything outside of this can arguably just be slammed down at any time if the credit card people are just like, yeah, we're not
For
that
sure, yeah.
comfortable with it. Yeah. So I think that's the problem that everybody's facing, and that means a lot of the RAT and content creation is going to it's going to be very limited. And again, Japanese artists, I think, outside of Twitter and Pixiv, are already having extremely hard time kind of communicating to the Western world because a lot of them kind of outside of again Twitter and Pixiv mainly just use Japanese limited stuff, right? There has not been a big move to someplace like uh Patreon, for example. There's usually that much. Japanese people have kind of done like crowdfunding and stuff like that, but that's again, crowdfunding is very different from just general regular content creation. And other than that, Japanese people kind of just like make their own blogs or do like CN or like what is it, like Fantia stuff like that, and or like DL site, right? And
Yeah.
it's very, and even I think in my opinion, DL site is going to get slapped very very soon.
Oh, more than likely.
It already did the English like Japanese integration, right? And
Yep.
it's already trying to cater to an international audience. It's going to get slapped down very very soon. And I think when you see even something that's originally a Japanese site like DL site, right? When you see that site getting slapped down by the international card networks, DL site has like a shit ton of stuff. It is like DL site getting its like more extreme R18 stuff removed is like
That's like 60% of the site.
yeah, and it's like decades of indie Japanese content, and people will likely like knowing the temperament of these Japanese artists. They'll just remove everything. They
Yep.
won't care. They
Yeah,
will
it'll
just
be
remove everything.
blackballed.
And it will be I don't want to make the analogy too extreme, but it will be like the Library of Alexandria burning, but
For
with
porn,
like
yeah.
but for like Japanese indie porn. that is not even an exaggeration.
My
Really.
my RPG makers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
pretty
So,
much.
it's like it's like cheesy meme, like like some RPG maker shit, but it's also like history, right? And
Yeah,
and
I
it's like a
mean,
huge amount of content burning.
yeah,
and it's,
you
I
can
think,
scoff at it, but like, lost media
it's
is
history.
lost media, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. So
whether
it's
it's
a little bit
porn or
unfortunate.
not.
Yeah, it's fun to see the snapshot of the time,
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a real problem that, again, especially Japanese artists are going to be have to come to grips with the future, especially if Twitter shuts down. I think if Twitter shuts down and all of the sites like DL
And we're
site
moving
and
over to
like
Hive, baby.
yeah, exactly. And Pixiv and stuff like that kind of shut down like R18 and like even anywhere uncomfortable creations. I think I think Japan, like independent artists, freelance artists, content creators will come across a new dark age, I think, of potential globalization and like back to Comic Kit, back to every once in a while a Western weeaboo sees a CN site or like a twit casting or not even twit casting. They can't even do twit casting anymore because if Twitter shuts down. They're so fucked if Twitter shuts down and like Pixiv and DL site gets slammed. It's not even funny. It's gonna be bad, but yeah. Hopefully, again, they can weather the storm. We are all hoping, this trend of globalization continues and it's not slammed down as hard by the card networks. But yeah, last piece of general sort of industry news. Japan's Ministry of Finance revealed on Wednesday, and this is sort of news that we've been predicting for a long time, right? Japan's Ministry of Finance revealed on Wednesday that it's setting up a new improvement plan for the Cool Japan Fund, the public-private company that the Japanese government employs to fund projects as part of its Cool Japan program. If it cannot make Cool Japan Fund profitable by the end of fiscal year 2025, the ministry may consolidate it. This is the second time Cool Japan Fund has needed revised plans. So there's been a couple of, I believe, misappropriation, like money abuse scandals, money laundering, not money laundering, but like misappropriation of funds scandals surrounding Cool Japan Fund previously, where it's like they throw around a lot of like really shitty fucking projects. It was like when you saw the types of projects that it did, it was like brand promotion, but it was like on the level of it. Like, how Gainax had the was it Gainax or Sunrise that had the duty-free tomatoes at the airport? It was like
Gynax.
Yeah, it was like
with the fucking tomato farm. Like
the duty-free
so
tomato farm.
dumb, dude.
It was. I think that was even funded by Cool Japan, right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so it was like all the level of those. Like you would think maybe Cool Japan Fund would, hire, I don't know, Millie or like
Yeah,
hire Lisa to like
maybe
sing or
something for like
something.
tourism or
Yeah,
something.
tourism,
Yeah,
and
no.
then like
You get
add
shit like
on to
Gynax
subsidies.
growing like
Yeah, but
tomatoes. Like
tomato farm, the duty-free
Well,
tomato farm,
how
sir. Excuse me.
in what universe is Cool Japan A ever going to be profitable and
Yeah,
B
exactly.
in 3 years?
yeah, that's just
The
never
thing
gonna
is, they didn't
profit.
have good ideas to begin with. It was just like so stupid. And like, even if they had great ideas, the whole point of the company is not to be profitable. It's to
It's
support
to
the
sink money
industry.
into
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
it's like saying, oh, why don't the government better make the U.S. postal system profitable by the end of 20? Like, no, that's not the point of the program. That's not the point of most public-private companies. So I think this points to the core part of the mismanagement of the current anime industry, as again we on the podcast have been ranting about for years, where just the people at the top don't know, like, or not, like, they don't care really
Well, yeah, it's
about
like, bro,
properly addressing
what were
the
you
problems of the
selling?
industry. Yeah, exactly. They're just doing
What,
this like
like
brand
when you set
promotion.
out and made Cool Japan, it's called Cool Japan Fund. Like, what
Yeah,
were
exactly. It's a fun, not a
uh,
cool Japan make money for us.
yeah,
Like,
not
like
Cool Japan like
give me
LLC. Like,
money.
what the
Yeah,
fuck? Like,
exactly.
what are you doing? Like, what are you?
Yeah. And like they just don't understand where it's like even when they are given the money, they just do it like they just keep making these, like, I don't know, like intra Tokyo artist award, where they just give one artist enough money to go live in a shitty dorm for 2 years and then fuck off, right? They just don't understand the core grassroots problem with supporting the industry, and they're just doing shit like this, like Cool Japan Fund, or like a billion different like random artist competitions. And it's very unfortunate. So, anyways, we'll
Yeah, I
see
just think it's
how.
disappointing. Like,
Yeah,
the debt still expanded. Like, again, like,
yeah,
what was it
exactly.
going to do? Like,
Yeah, and like after this, it's just gonna be again like There could be maybe some cool ideas with this, although I don't think really like the anime industry needs more like globalization at this point, because it's like there's enough
not
decent
through this.
promotion.
I
Yeah,
think the actual like companies can promote themselves. It's just they need to wisen up and realize that, like, there needs to be more digitalization and like easier
yeah.
access.
Yeah, I think digitalization is definitely a place that where they can work on. But I think also, obviously, Sony, now that Sony Pictures and Warner Bros. And they're like the related companies and and the productions have enough money to throw around, and know that anime can be so profitable and bring in so much money, and is a growth market. It is still a growth market, obviously. And seeing the successes of Kimetsu no Yaiba winning everything on the face of the planet and setting every record possible, right? Um, they know that it's a growth market with huge money potential. Um, but I think again, the problem is not making random subsidies or whatever. It is regulations and proper redistribution of the wealth to the struggling artists in need at this point. So, but these people will, I think, see what they can do with Cool Japan Fund. So,
Probably
anyways,
not much.
yeah, we're gonna. I swear to God, like in less than a year, we're gonna see some fucking news come out of this, where it's like, yeah, the one of the directors at the top just like used all the money for like hookers and blow or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the news. Some various other, very small stuff. New Symphogear. Last week we got some news about new Symphogear project launching. So, Hibiki is going to beat up some more gods, I guess, while also kissing Miku. Um, there's also a person who was arrested, 21-year-old unemployed man named Yomokita Haruto, who sent an email threat saying that a sewage facility in Taito would explode if the comic market or Comic Head 100 event in Tokyo was not canceled. So yeah, don't do bomb threats, kids. And there are a couple of other domestic violence and alleged battery arrests and trials going on. A lot of news going on in the past couple of weeks, in person news. So very unfortunate. But yeah, that was the general news for these past 2 weeks. Pretty busy past 2 weeks for Japan overall. And we are going to over to our final section of our final review for the fall 2022 season. Again, after this, we are going to do our winter 2023, the winter 2023 preview show, next episode, and then the episode after that. End of the year awards, and then after that, we're either going to jump straight into the winter season, or we might do like a side cast or another review of the fall or whatever it is. So check us out for that. But before finishing up our podcast, we are going to go on to our shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here gets one shout out and one call out. Shout out is one thing that you want to get 5 out of 5. Praise to the heavens, it can be only one person, place, or thing. Call out is the exact opposite. You want to thumbs down, rant, call the manager up over, very angry, and it can be any one person, place, or a thing that you are angry about. And I guess I'll start off. Shout out to God, I freaking had the yeah. Shout out to actually Pio. Pio who is one of the reviewers here, who I was actually trying to go through like what visual novels popped up in the past couple of years. Again, other than like the award-winning stuff like the Sosa Kanajo or whatever. And he listed a couple of companies and a couple of visual novels that were suitably long because um, I have a noted I don't want to say biased against, but I don't like reading small visual novels as much. Because it's like a lot of them are just like straightforward, like, oh, it's just 2 hours. Like you're going out with this girl, and the girl says, and she's all, whatever. I kind of like the longer stuff because there's like more decision points and there's more like character interactions and stuff like that. So, um, he did point out a couple of companies that were still making longer visual novels and a couple of visual novels that were longer and more developed. So shout out to him for that. And I want to check out some of those uh, sooner or later. My call out, and this has been a long time call out of mine, is again to Crunchyroll because recently, what is it? Crunchyroll made that tweet about Jujutsu Kaisen, right? The tweet was originally about Jujutsu Kaisen movie, I believe, right?
Wow.
And then the main English voice actor, right, of with one of the main characters, if not like the voice actor for the protagonist, right, of Jujutsu Kaisen, um, they said that um, the for the entire movie they received less than like $1,000 or 1K um for doing the entire movie dubbed. And you know regardless of whatever feelings I have for dub stuff or like however many people watch dub or whatever, which is very stupid comment to use on Twitter. I don't think the argument is about how many people watch dub versus sub and that's how the payment. That's not how that works. Um, regardless of how I feel about dub, people need to be paid properly. And this again, this goes back to the whole like Cool Japan Fund and what people
I
don't
mean, they're sure
understand
as
about.
shit not going to get better with that kind of pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
And it's
even
like,
even if there's an actor that is incredible, like when
yeah,
that's the
exactly.
pay they're perform. I mean, look at X-Arm. Like, what was
Yeah.
his name during that one episode? Who was it? Was
Yeah.
like, I think it was the same VA as Josuke or something like that.
Oh my god, fuck.
I'd have to see that was, but yeah, it's like, obviously this whole thing is a mess. They're probably being paid like shit. And this
Yeah.
extremely, prominent and famous voice actor is like clearly has just thrown in the towel and is just fucking around now.
Yeah. And again, this like Crunchyroll and most of these instances now, especially since that it has um Crunchyroll is under Sony, right? Because it was sold from Warner Bros to Sony, right? I think that was how it worked. Um Crunchyroll is responsible nowadays for a lot of these localization setups, right? They are the juncture, whether people like it or not, where you know English voice actors/actresses come to negotiate with the studios and they're provided the contracts and the setups and the money and stuff like that, and Crunchyroll is just simply not doing a good job of providing proper pay for the freaking voice actors. And not only the voice actors, but we also know, the translators. Just like everybody related to localization, they're not paying. Wherever that money is going, they're not asking enough money from the production committee, from Sony or whoever, is sitting at Tokyo MX, whoever the fuck's sitting there at the production committee table. And B or two, I forget. I forget whether I said A or one first. But B or two, they're not fucking coughing up enough money for anybody in the localization team on the bottom level. So, like fucking support the anime industry, like you guys say you are. Okay, like stop fucking spending money on the cafeteria or Crunchyroll, CrunchyCon or whatever the fuck it is. Okay, like, come on, man. Just do
Sponsoring
what-
every single anime convention under the sun.
Yeah,
You're
maybe
just like, don't do
stop
that.
fucking
Maybe just
yeah,
like stop doing
stop
that. People know
stop
who you are.
doing
You're
mean
owned by
yeah,
Sony now. You don't need to be
yeah,
blowing
exactly.
money on that.
Stop expanding into random projects and doing whatever and pay the localization people, okay? People like Jujutsu Kaisen is literally one of the biggest anime or one of the biggest anime franchises in the world right now. The guy doing the protagonist role, English voice acting, should not get paid less than 1K for the entire fucking Jujutsu Kaisen movie. That should not be a thing. So, that's my call out to Crunchyroll.
Bro, it's only
and
an hour of
obviously
work
your
though.
companies. But yeah, it's just, you just get it and you just simuldub the entire movie while so
That's what I would
anyways.
do if that's what my
Yeah,
fucking thing was.
if you got less
I'd
than
be
one
like, all right,
yeah.
we're letting it run. We're doing this in one take.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna see this on my
Do it
$20 mic.
live.
See, yeah. Like you give them like a camera picture of your room, and it doesn't even have any of like the foam like the sound like protectors or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
a rock
It's just
band
like
mic.
yeah, exactly. You're doing it in like a wooden church. Oh yeah. Anyways, Sessio said, calling out Harui, seeing the flashpoint of this specific kind of trash again, maybe hate it all over again. The Session is speaking like a person who went through Endless 8 more than once. But
Bro.
anyways, yeah.
That's how I felt going through Endless 8.
Going through
Like-
Endless, the thing is, I wouldn't blame anybody for going through like even like half of Endless 8 and then being like, actually no, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like I would
I
not
went
blame
through
anybody.
all of that shit, bro.
I did
Like,
too.
Fuck me.
That was it was just not like the thing is the idea was quote unquote creative, but like you knew like don't man. It was like everybody like wanted to tell the director just like no.
Yeah,
No.
it's like one of those things where it's like this has never been done before, and it's like
Yeah.
there was nobody in the room.
Yeah, so
that all
so were
there was,
the
there was nobody in the room that was like, there's a reason.
yeah, it's like Jurassic Park. It's like the Jurassic Park moment, right? It's like there's
Yeah.
a reason why nobody puts the dinosaurs in the fucking like. Come on, man. Just think for a second. But yeah, that was my call out to Crunchyroll. Fucking pay your people, man. Dark, shout out call, please.
I'm gonna do a shout out to World of Warcraft. You know,
Mhm.
been having some good interviews. You know, they've had some good philosophy changes. Yeah, you know, they were humbled and they seem to have realized quite a lot. So, new expansions looking up. The new class has been really fun. I've just been fucking around with that. So, yeah. That
Mhm.
continues.
And you
And
call out?
I probably had a more real call out, but I think I'm gonna call out I think I'll just I'll call out like COD and Modern Warfare 2 for having the worst UI and menu in the entire universe.
It's not great.
Is really bad. And it also breaks a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Game is really good. It's like actual UX and like UI.
They only like just
so
they like patched the game yesterday so that now in the absolutely dog shit UI of like going through your camos, you can view only the camos that you've unlocked. But it's still in the like shitty fucking like dog shit, like really
Horizontal
long
scroll.
horizontal scrolling grid. So the more camos you unlock, the worse it will get.
Yeah. So there's that. There's stuff like that. The store like crashes the menus sometimes arbitrarily. Gun previews don't match up with the store images, like stuff like that. There's what was it? There's also like fucking there's just like weird shit. Like the showcasing operator stuff like is really weird. Like it doesn't make sense because like you can showcase an operator and a weapon, but then your favorite weapon is what displays in the game menus, but not in like your friends list. The friends list is really bad and really disorganized and shows people like offline when they're not offline and shows people like online when they are appearing offline. There's stuff like what is it like sometimes when you just like go through different guns, like if I swap from like SMGs to I don't know to like ARs and back, like all of a sudden my AUG is an AK-47 now as an icon, and I don't know what gun this is. So there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, you know, for some reason, like actually I guess it makes sense that like their gun icons are like their gun icons are like modular so that you're like optimally supposed to see like what attachments you have on your gun from like the actual menu icon. But the
Except they
problem
don't.
is that yeah, the problem is that it doesn't happen a lot of the time. And then that also leaves it open to like just having the icons completely break. Like I've had guns that just like don't have a receiver and are literally just the attachments bundled up on the icon, like clipping over each other. And yeah, and like I said, I've also had it be like, I guess every gun just is an AK now until I click on it and see what gun it actually is. But yeah, game is very good. Game is very like well made from like a game standpoint, but it was also like still undercooked. So, you know, hopefully no new COD next year. Hopefully it is just Modern Warfare 2 or because they're not ready to keep doing this.
All right. Well, thank you, Dark. Shout out to Callouts. And Nier, what about you?
So my shout out and call out is two and one. So Hoseki no Kuni, chapter 99 came out like 2-3 days ago. And with it, we got a new volume. And with the new volume, we got a volume PV. You know how sometimes mangas get voiced PVs. And it's really cool. It's a really, really cool PV. It's really awesome. It's voiced. It's the first time we've had Lapis Fos voiced. And it's awesome. It's really badass. But also, where the fuck is season 2? I want season 2 really bad.
What's Studio Orange doing these days?
They're working on Trigon.
Right, I forgot.
Yep.
Wait,
So,
they're also doing oh no, they're only doing you're gonna
they're
have
like
to wait
they're
like 2
subcontracted on a
years.
lot of stuff too.
Yeah, because they're doing subcontracting, probably doing like 3D CGI help. They're doing Trigun next year, and then apparently after that, they're doing Beastars, right? And I'm
Yeah, they're gonna
assuming,
finish Beastars.
yeah, so they're from what it looks like, right? Unless they like specifically get money, like how they did with Godzilla Singular Point, they're only like at best you're gonna get one anime every year, right? Or maybe like 2 years, right? Again, unless they specifically get additional money, funding money, and they're like working with other studios. So so for this specifically, right, where Land of the Lustrous was not co-produced with anybody, and it's not like they got money from it, or
Yeah.
they got money from a specific sponsor, like with Godzilla. you're probably not going to see this until like 2025 or 2026, right?
So, I'm so desperate for it, dude. Cause like it sucks. Cause the anime leaves off, and if I remember correctly, it leaves off somewhere at the end of volume 4, right?
Yeah.
And we're up to volume 12 now. So like there's a lot there that they can animate.
Right.
Like they
Oh
can do
wait,
it a lot.
fuck. They also did Idol Master Cinderella Girls spin-off, which means 2025 or 2026, they're gonna be like new announcement, and you're just gonna be like, what? And then they're gonna do shiny
Yeah.
colors, shiny bus, and you're gonna have to wait until you have grandson to see if I can land him.
Fuck me, man.
You're so fucked, dude.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
my 2-in-1. Shout out and call out.
All right. Good stuff. Toast. Shout out, call it, please.
My shout out. I'm gonna give 2 shout outs because I don't have a call out. My first shout out is to I don't know, the new Bremerton skin, I guess. It's a cool skin.
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah?
Yeah. You seen it? It's pretty cool.
Nope.
What? You didn't see it?
No.
Or, let me post it. It's pretty cool. Bremerton's probably my second favorite ship in Azur Lane, so I'm completely fine with that new skin. Here you go, Near. Let me repost it. There you go. And then my second shout out is to the late Jason David Frank, because he died recently on November 19th. And if you don't know who Jason David Frank is, then I don't want to be friends with you. Spar, do you know who Jason David Frank is?
Yeah, the Power Rangers guy, right?
Which one?
What? I forget because I knew I. Cool. I'm bad. I'm admitting that I'm bad about
He's
memorizing.
fucking green, dude.
Okay.
It's
I
freaking Tommy
apologize.
Oliver, even my second favorite Power Ranger.
Oh, okay. Right.
My second favorite, but everyone's favorite Power Ranger.
Mhm.
If you didn't know, he was supposed to be Frank Steele or Adam Steele.
Mhm.
If you don't know who that is, if you remember the really crappy show VR Troopers, he was supposed to be the main character, but no, but he became Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, and he's the most popular Ranger of all time, and he recently died on November 19th, and we lost a good one there. We also, I mean, this is also the same month we lost Kevin Conroy, so I mean, everyone,
Some very heavy
childhood
losses.
is dead now.
Yeah.
So my shout outs to him and all he's done for the Power Rangers series. He loved being a Power Ranger. He's always up for whatever cameo he can get. And yeah, so, shout out to him. I'll pour one out to my man Tommy Oliver. About it.
Okay. Anyways, thank you again, Toast, for your shout and call out. And with that, again, it is likely our last review for our fall
Forever?
2020. Yes, it's over. We are never going to watch any fall
over.
2020 anime ever again. It's illegal. But yeah, so that's gonna be the last review for us, likely. If our schedule maybe is a little bit iffy coming into the 2023 winter season, we'll have to check around a little bit, but likely we're going to have that the winter season lined up pretty okay, decently. Seeing how the schedule is going to go, so we are probably going to do our the next episode on the 10th. Yeah, 10th, and then we're planning on doing our end of the year podcast either on the Sunday on Christmas Day, the night of Christmas Day, or the night of January 1st. So just check on our social media to keep updated. And if you like what we do, we stream our podcast every other Saturday over at twitch.tv/4PlayAnimecast. That's with the number 4, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or where we talk about the latest and greatest in anime, Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. We keep our podcast recordings in highlight form on our Twitch page as well as on our YouTube channel, 4PlayAnimecast. So whichever format that you desire. Check us on our social media as well, on Facebook, 4PlayAnimecast, as well as on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast. Again, all with the numeral 4. So check us out here, check us out there, and as always, we'll see you next time.